Live. You're live! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Not Your Average Streamers. I am CROW-nos. With me, I have Dez. Good evening, Dez. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight?
Yo, I'm doing great. I was sad earlier, but now I'm over it, so that's good.
It's good to get over the sadness, especially quickly. If you're sad about what we were talking about earlier, that was the 7 stages of grief quite quickly. I mean, it's one of those things that didn't matter that much.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say grief, because, like, there'd have to be something to mourn, but mostly I just read Twitter threads roasting Kamala Harris for an hour, and then I felt fine again.
Yeah. At least we're not alone in this.
Yeah, I mean, news this week has been really dumb in terms of politics, because, like, also people in the corporate media fell all over themselves because George Bush is releasing a book of portraits of immigrants.
Yeah, I heard about this.
And it's just like,
his art style is not good, but it's not
First of all, he sucks. Let's just be real. And then secondly, someone put it very succinctly when they tweeted, how is it that George Bush gets to kill 1 million people in Iraq and rehabilitate himself into Bob Ross? Which is the real question that I have. So that's what I want to know. You know?
The game session from last week, did I not ever save? Because it's not here. The entire thing that we played last week is not in my inventory of save files.
Oh, well, that would be really bad. I would say if the entire thing is not in your inventory of saves, then we should not play this game anymore.
Well, what else should we play? I mean, this is not what we expected. I opened the game up and I was like, okay, that's my latest save file. That's fine. I didn't look at the date, and I'm going into the batting station again.
It should probably be what, August 4th?
Yeah, it should be August 4th.
Yeah. So, that's,
and I would have more money because I finished the thing that got me my 100,000 yen back. So yeah, everything is lining up that this is just not here.
I mean, I guess you could
just fly through the stuff.
You could catch it up like another time.
Yeah, and yeah, it's not like we did a lot last week. It was we had a lot of technical issues last week, and that we did no story stuff essentially. Plus, if I really want to do exactly the same thing, I could do the same thing. So, well, I can switch the name of the stream, and we can do more bean diving, and you can just chat me through bean diving. I can load up a different game, and we can work on a single game. Or
yeah, I mean, I would say either bean diving or why do I have notification? Oh, yeah, okay. Bean diving or I mean, I guess I could like quickly try to switch to some dumb dating sim, but
Quapod is suggesting that maybe there's an autosave somewhere. So we're not saving that because we didn't want to save that. And what I did was I got continue, and that's what put me there. So maybe I didn't do that right. Maybe give it another shot from the menu. That's a good idea. I do have still more games to bean dive, so we could easily chew up the time bean diving, and that might be entertaining. Continue. And it asks me which one I want to continue. Yeah.
I guess we could just watch sports ball.
What sports ball could we possibly watch? I guess a baseball game?
I don't know.
That's hockey. So Tampa's playing somebody.
No, Tampa. Well, if I search for Bolts hockey, Tampa Bay does. Oh, they are currently playing.
They're called the Lightning, though, not the Bolts.
Oh my God, they're tied at the end of overtime 4. Jeez.
Oh, are we actually getting playoff?
Wow.
We're getting playoff hockey in August?
Holy shit.
Okay, I love overtime hockey.
Against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh. Okay.
At the tied 2-2 at the end of OT4, it looks like. So.
All right, hold on a second. Yeah,
sounds like it is a. They just started overtime 5. It does sound like it's a pretty epic game, Ypod. That's true. Yeah, the Tampa Bay Lightning is.
Watch live NHL.com. So www.nhl.com.
Is Tampa Bay Lightning trying to play more playoff hockey tonight than all last year? We waited months for hockey to return, and we are not disappointed. 148 shots on goal in this game.
I mean, it is a lot of periods.
Wow.
But holy cow, that's very aggressive hockey as well. What's the goals? I didn't hear the score, and I'm trying to pull it up.
Tampa it's 2-2.
Oh,
Tampa Bay Lightning game started at 3. It's now 9. Oh my god, they've been playing for 6 hours. Jesus.
I love this. Is one of the reasons why I love playoff hockey. This reminds me of the Hurricanes back. It must have been back in 2003, and they had this epic overtime battle with the series had like 3 games go to double overtime. It was insane. All right, I'm trying to load it.
Oh
Nothing's loading.
This is very intense.
Let me try a different browser. Maybe it just doesn't like all my privacy settings because I am the privacy boy.
They had to delay the Bruins Hurricanes game because of how long this is taking. So
that is awesome.
Amazing.
Okay, I can either. Yes, I'm aware you have a privacy policy. It's a spinning wheel of death. Network sites, community, player sites, about, but I just want to just load the damn game. Like, I don't even know how this is supposed to work.
The arena where they play here was doing something today. They had something going on because they're playing in Toronto, but there's something going on at the arena here. Oh, you can go and pick up. They're selling food, so you can get game day food. Interesting. I wonder how many people actually did that.
So it feels more like you actually went to the arena. Or you got the same.
So like you went to a hockey game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's clever. Plus,
like if you have a favorite if you have a favorite snack. Yeah, and you can pick up family packs and stuff. Like they have a whole little list.
I mean, this is probably
catering
some terms of
menu
service,
here.
but if it's broadcasting through this, it's broadcasting on the internet somewhere. It's fine. And this is super frustrating.
Yeah, you can get a $12 beer. Exactly, Ypod. If you really felt like your playoffs experience wouldn't be complete without a $12 beer.
Where can I watch NHL? NBC, NBCSN, the NHL Network in USA. Okay. I can't do any of those things. Can I watch hockey without cable? I don't have any of those things. How can I watch NHL TV for free? I gotta get Cody. I'm not gonna put Cody on because we're not going down that path right now.
Yeah, I'm on the NHL site is not great actually.
It's terrible.
Like if it's like, hey, I just want to buy a game or something.
So I'm going to log into my Amazon account here and see if I can do Amazon Prime hockey somehow.
I just clicked on Bolts TV and there's a Tampa General Hospital commercial.
Somebody's going to score a goal and it's just going to be miserable as I try to figure this thing out.
The third period goal. So this was the tie. Oh my gosh. Holy... That was intense.
You're killing me.
God, that's very aggressive. Holy shit. I mean, the overhead shot...
Watch party?
Oh my god.
Start a watch party with anything included with Prime. The Boys, Hannah, Upload, The Expanse, Captain America, Hell's Kitchen, and even more.
You don't need to do that. You can play it and we'll see it.
Well, I mean, I could do that over here, but that's kind of cheating, so... But that's also not what I'm trying to do here.
You're stealing from Jeff Bezos. Who gives a shit?
The government.
He's not even a real person. It's a victimless crime. It's a victimless crime.
Also, I'm not stealing... You're right. I wasn't stealing from Jeff Bezos. I'd be stealing from Amazon. And Amazon isn't a real person. They're a corporate person. It's different.
Right.
Browsing history. I don't want that. I just want to watch the hockey game. Channels. What do you have on the channels? I can watch Joker with an HBO subscription. Guess what? I don't have that.
Don't you have like a VPN? You can pretend you're from a country that gets this for free.
Yeah,
are there countries that get this for free?
Yeah, if I could just find one, I could absolutely do that. But I need to know what country that would be. Okay, so here, I mean, this is the scheduled stuff, so it's not even going to tell me what's useful. But holy cow. I theoretically have access to so many things that I don't ever use.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Like, in 48 minutes, we could be watching My Man Godfrey. That's awesome.
That's kind of that's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
In 48 minutes?
Yep.
Like, do we have to watch it live?
It's on the Dove channel, so yes.
As in the soap?
I don't know. It says it's the Dove channel.
Oh my god, what?
It's a great question.
Are you...
what was that?
I have so many questions about that.
Jodorowsky's Dune? Oh, it's the documentary. Never mind. It's not the actual thing. It's a documentary about the production of it, which never happened, by the way. Everyone wants it to have happened because it was going to be amazing.
Oh, The Boys season 2. Thank God they made another season of that. Ugh. Boys is one of my shows, and I hate it so much.
I think I can watch any of these things. Taste, Made, Dust, Buzzer, the Dove Channel, Docu-Rama. Docu-Rama in 18 minutes is going to start a documentary called Biden, apparently. That's something.
Oh my god, I would rather watch paint dry. I would rather switch to my desk camera and paint something, and then we all just sat there and commented on the drawing
What if the thing you were
process.
painting was a portrait of an immigrant?
What if the thing I was painting was someone who died from a war crime? And then...
That I may or may not have been committing.
Well, I didn't, but maybe if I had been president in 2000-ish or so, you know, although technically Bush wasn't president in 2000, so
okay,
2001, if I had been president circa 2001.
Well, I didn't type that in right at all. We want Tampa Bay. I don't want predictions and previews. I want to watch the game. Now, if I do this, is it going to do a thing?
Again, Vasilevsky just really sharp. Out on the edge of his crease. Not bothered by the traffic going in front of his face.
Ypod, you didn't provide enough breadcrumbs
goal of the game way
for CROW-nos to...
Shot to the net that was planned and ended up
I love that this is just a live stream
Kucherov shooting
about
doesn't get it through. Racing there with Sergachev, but it was taken over by the Blue Jackets, and the try blocked.
It's too late. The caption bot already got us.
Well, the caption bot doesn't work on me because we don't have enough
Caption
subscribers or viewers or anything like that yet, so...
We don't have caption bot?
Not yet. We're not big enough.
Well, if we don't have a caption bot, we should probably stream an ultra low latency because then the delay would be less.
Even less? Sure. I can switch that around.
But the caption bot doesn't work if you switch an ultra low latency, so but if we don't have one of those anyway.
Usually I have that option right here.
A rebellious teenage boy embarks on a gutsy crusade to stop the terrifying evil he suspects possessed his neighbor.
Oh my gosh, they're so tired. I can tell. Look at how they're skating.
There's a Dora the Explorer movie. Sorry, I'm on Hulu. Some crazy shit is happening.
This is game 1. This is game 1.
Scotty is still chilling here somewhere. I know. Too bad Scotty is no longer with us to provide quotes, if nothing else.
Yeah, I have to get something else set up for it. I've been setting some other things up so we have some functionality, but we don't have a bot yet. But let me see if I can do something like that. Hold on a second.
I mean, I don't know if I would mess around.
Well, I mean, I'm not doing anything else, right? Just sitting here watching the hockey game.
Delay of game.
You can't delay. I mean, it's so rare that happens. Oh, he pitched it out of the stadium? I must be a little behind. Out of the rink. He pitched it out of the rink. Yeah,
it looks like he did.
That's going to do it. All right, so Streamlabs has it, which we talked about this, so might as well say it on the air. Looking at the idea of getting Streamlabs, and like if we wanted to get Streamlabs, that's a service we'd have to pay a monthly fee for, and so making that like the first Ko-fi or coffee goal. So if we wanted to do something like that, it's Ko-fi.
It's buy a coffee. Don't be an idiot.
But it's Ko-fi. Buy me a coffee.
It's not.
This is how you need to be able to, it's like I'm CROW-nos. You need to be able to say these things right so you can find them. How are you going to find CROW-nos if you don't know how it's spelled?
No, incorrect. It's like Patreon, only it's not a subscription, I don't think. So like you can just throw money at it.
It's a one-time thing. It's like PayPal, but yeah.
And it doesn't have fees.
And no fees. Yeah. So I don't know how they make money, but that's a thing. And that was set up a while ago, and Des put it into the links now, so it's actually happening. We talked about that last week, and we fixed it. And Streamlabs has chatbots where they can do quotes and stuff, so that would be a way of getting it back. Plus a lot of other features.
It's not in this one, though, because this is all jacked up. It's not in this stream.
Oh, well, yeah, because we haven't fixed that yet. I'll put it
because this one is in some kind of special zone all by itself. But like literally any other video, it would be there.
Because I can't do anything right. I mean, how do you have?
It's true. It's true.
Pushed?
Can confirm.
Well, obviously, we got to be rooting for the Lightning here, right? I mean, that's Dez's home team.
Yeah. That's my home team.
I like the things that they put over the seats to make it look like they're not supposed to be seats there that aren't filled. That's something. I do have 3 kids.
The ref looks like he wants to die.
They've been skating a long time too. They've been at this for just as long as the players, and I mean, they don't skate quite as hard. They're not hitting.
Like he's like, who gives a shit? Just somebody win. I gotta go home.
I promised my wife I'd be home.
Oh my god.
You know, it's an endurance test, and the thing is, it's so demoralizing to lose a game like this. You know, winning a game like this, it's fine, but losing a game like this, if you're going to lose this game, you'd much rather have lost by a huge margin or 20 minutes ago or 60 minutes ago.
Someone in the chat is like, "Is this hell?" It's like, "Yeah, we're in hell."
I don't see
in
your chat.
10th OT, they'll be playing on their knees. The chat is really funny.
Where's the chat? I don't have a chat.
Oh well, I'll just read you good ones.
Oh, fine. That sounds good. I don't know how this could possibly be hell. This is literally my favorite thing about playoff hockey. The fact that
this is for all the people who say shootouts shouldn't exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's not over until somebody drops dead on the ice from exhaustion.
You were probably a fan of like the old school boxing that went like 52 rounds.
I had never watched one of those, but yeah, a long round boxing.
I think they were before TV existed. Like they were in the way olden times. You just played until someone actually was knocked out.
Yeah, and if you don't knock them out quick because you don't have heavyweights. Yeah, I can understand that, Ypod. Great reason to. I think I liked hockey as a kid, but I really took to it in college, and some of those experiences were really fantastic with those overtime games. I'm gonna see if I could find out what season that was, because I was in college for it. So that's not gonna work.
When we were in college, the Capitals were not incompetent. That was one of.
No, they were pretty bad when we were in college.
They weren't like, or maybe was it high school?
Your first year of college
they were not totally incompetent.
No, they had They've always been mediocre. At least they've never been really, really bad.
They've never been bad.
They've never been that bad, right?
Look,
not like the other Washington team, like the Washington football team that was bad. But they historically were.
The Washington football team is going to improve now because they were under a curse. But now that they changed their name, the curse will be lifted.
I'm not buying that one.
I'm pretty sure that's the shaman who put a curse on them was interviewed by the Washington Post. Yay!
Oh, they took it right in the head first. That's such a double whammy.
Aw. Man, he looked really sad. This is probably They're like crying, like, thank God. So bad.
And that was an away game, too. That's a big, big deal. I have to figure that the Blue Jackets could go on to win this series now.
The Blue Jackets just lost. You think they're going to win the series?
Wait a minute. No. Why are the Blue Jackets wearing white? The home team wears white, and the Blue Jackets are not wearing the blue jacket. This is... I was rooting for the wrong team the entire time. I didn't see the ball.
Well, yeah, I guess I should have specified that the Lightning was the blue team. So, but the thing is, you had the right intention in your heart. So that's all that matters.
Oh man, that's awkward.
Oh, those poor babies. They look so sad.
That is super demoralizing. I mean, it was demoralizing either way, but I think it is worse if you're the home team.
The agony of defeat. That poor guy.
I got hit in the head, and then the goal goes in.
Also, you can tell the Lightning because they have lightning bolts on their legs.
I didn't see the legs. And to be fair, I'm doing like three things at once, so I wasn't paying a ton of attention.
Oh, that's true. That's true. He was working really hard.
I'm trying to do a couple of things at the same time, but that was. I'm glad we got to see at the end of that.
Commercial break in progress. Okay. Oh.
So it must have been the 2002 season. That feels right. I thought it was later than that, but.
Well, I'm glad we won. I mean, half the state is dead, so those of us who are left can enjoy it.
Like Carolina, Montreal, was that the series?
Nine periods total.
Okay, so first they beat the New Jersey Devils, and there were 2 overtime matches in that one. And then they went on to fight the Canadiens, and they won that one easily. But again, 2 overtime games. And then in the semis, no, in the final, oh, there it is. The Eastern Finals, they had 3 more overtimes. And that was against the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was the series I'm remembering. So they've been in 2 overtime period games in each of the previous series. Were exhausted, having come in but winning. And then they had 3 more overtime. Just craziness. That was a good series. That was a lot of fun watching that. And this was a good game too. But yeah, that means the Lightning probably wins. And that's good too. Okay, so hockey game is done. Thank you for the link. I'll need to bookmark that.
Yeah, we can all root for the Lightning together, unless Ypod's team is in the playoffs, and then and they have to play each other, and then I guess we'll flip a coin over who we root for, because I'm not like that emotionally invested.
So what are we doing next? Since we still don't have a save.
Well, the Lightning hate black people is being posted in the chat. I mean, is that like Lightning specific, or is that just like a hockey thing? Or maybe, maybe that person's just mad. I guess I'll research that. Never. Yeah, I mean, I'll just Google it. Maybe they didn't like. Yeah. Edmonton's knocked out already, so you're just any Canadian in a any Canadian in a storm. I watched Jim Gaffigan's Pale Tourist on Canada, which is just an hour of stand-up talking about what it's been like for him to be in Canada. And he was talking about like people get weirder the farther east you go, which reminded me of this one time that I told the Canadians in my work chat that anytime I know a customer is Canadian, I give them a Nova Scotia accent in my head. And they were all like furious. So it's like every single Montreal Canadiens with an E. I get it.
Close that. All right, Des, what are we doing?
Do you remember what season it was when we quit Stardew Valley?
We had just turned to spring because we finished a full year.
We finished a full year. Oh, I was like, if it was winter, we could just go and like keep the hockey vibes going.
No, it's spring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care, but I don't know that I want to like redo Yakuza. Did you ever find a save?
No, we have a save, but it's from 2 weeks ago. Ypod, thank you very much. I got a notification that something had come in. So thank you for your support, for being here for all these sessions. It means a lot to us.
Yay. Yeah, now you just need to put something on the screen with Ypod's name. Just make something in Paint really fast.
I can do something like that. Well, no.
Yeah, like you can just throw it together in Paint real quick.
Paint wasn't what I was going with. What I was thinking about doing, because I can do this. I have this thing. Do this. And then this, and then this goes here. I don't know if that's high enough. Yay! It worked.
Oh, yay, it worked. Yeah, we have a shout out. A low tech.
Super low
tech shout out.
100% manual. That's when you know it matters. Let me see if I can do something in Paint. I mean, I'm reminded of that that epic Pussy Patrol thing. Let me see if I can.
The Pussy Patrol? Yeah, Pussy Patrol was... I love that the tree flipping everyone off is the transition. On this,
that was actually my thing. My because I turned it into my desktop background. And so for whatever reason, my desktop flashed, which is one of the reasons why I've changed my desktop around a lot. That desktop is completely clean. There's nothing on it except the background image, and the background image has either been the cowboy or, which is me as a cowboy, for complicated reasons.
I'm terrified.
Or the tree now, because of the tree story. Speaking of which, we got our roof fixed today. The roofers were out.
Yay!
And we were told that the roofers were coming at 8 p.m. last night. They called my wife. And if you've ever tried to call my wife, you know that is hit or miss. It was particularly missed last night because she was super jet lagged, having just flown back from the West Coast. So she was asleep, which means that we got the voicemail long after the roofers were already there. So we were woken up this morning by people walking on our roof and knocking on the door, telling us we had to move to one of the cars so they could park their truck in our driveway.
Wow.
Not their fault. They tried, and it was short notice because someone else had canceled, so they had a crew available, and they're like, can we come do it for you? We'll be there. And we just didn't hear because, it was late the day before and things didn't work out. Where would I have put Pussy Patrol? I don't even know where I would have saved that. I don't know. I know I've got it somewhere because I'm a digital pack rat, right? But
probably.
Where would I have put it?
I don't know. I have it as a text. That's how I have it saved.
A text message?
Well, not. I mean, like I think I took a screenshot of it on my phone from Imager.
Oh, it's Imgur. Yeah, okay. That's probably in my email then, so I probably linked it in my email. It's I have too many windows open again. Where's my browser? Here it is. Still laughing at murdered Pussy Patrol. Well done, YPod. Well done. So it was October 10th, 2017, but I don't have the image here.
Oh, well.
Man.
How did you not save this?
I know I saved it. I know it's somewhere.
How have you failed?
I'm a miserable, miserable failure. Meowdered Pussy Patrol Part 2, The Waxing.
Ouch. That sounds painful.
Just
here, I'm making you a thank you PNG that you can use.
The Soft Miller's Flump, maybe it was the Brazilian setting. They brought the franchise back to life with Meowdered Pussy Patrol 3 Eating Out.
Did we? Was that when we were? Oh, well, we were making fun of something, but I forget what it was. That is actually coming back to me now, of all things.
I was scrolling through a list of achievements someone had won recently. This one caught my eye. Cleaning pussy. The image is an abstract of a cat washing itself in blue. The description is, having taken care of your mustache in all the places with a mirror. So this is ABC Murders, which I've played now. Okay, we're in Gaming World. I noticed another achievement the same gamer has recently gotten with the same name. It was also about mustaches. What game is going for these unnecessary double entendres and also has a fixation on mustache rides? Agatha Christie's The ABC Murders. Oh, it's Hercule Poirot. Well, that makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
And then
I have it now. Desktop. Here, we have a fancy one now. I'm gonna attach it to the chat, to the meeting, so you get it immediately. Okay. Oh, no, sorry, that's only for Google Calendar, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna email it to you. That's your like comfort zone anyway.
It is. That Babylon Bee article, by the way, you sent it to me.
Yeah.
I love that headline. I mean, the bee is on fire.
Good. That was good.
So
I mean, they made it so easy. Like, I wasn't shocked because the Democrats are so incompetent at politics that they never like shock me. Like, but I was like, wow, that wasn't what I was expecting. So, but it definitely fell under the whole, like, this was not going to impact much as for me unless he had chosen someone like with really anti-establishment, bona fides, who isn't a cuck like Bernie Sanders and someone like Nina Turner, and then maybe, but maybe I would have been like, well, at least there'd be someone there to talk some sense into him and forge his signature when he's taking his afternoon naps, who would definitely fight tooth and nail not to start any new wars, like that kind of thing. But this is not that. This is not that. So, plus, but it's also so Biden, because it's like, who other than Biden would, in a time when everyone in America is finally like, I think cops are the worst, pick a cop
with that record,
with a record of being especially tough on like nonviolent drug offenses, sending people to jail for truancy, all kinds of shit like that, not releasing prisoners eligible for early release because they were providing quote unquote valuable labor force
and admitting
to the state of California and admitting to that. I mean,
there's certain things you just don't say out loud. You can think that.
Yes, it's just you can think it's because you can't give up the labor force, but then you say it's because of keeping the community safe or some bullshit. It's just of all the people at this moment, it's like, this is the worst one. Plus also, like, she doesn't get you multicultural points because he's already more popular with black voters than she is. So it's like, who is she appealing to? She dropped out of the race pretty early on because she was appealing to no one. She got fewer delegates than Tulsi Gabbard, like, and Michael Bloomberg. So I don't understand. But it's okay. It's fine.
The party of the poor and the oppressed selects an old, white, rich man and a cop. And not just any cop, an ACAB cop.
An ACAB. I mean, is she the worst of the worst? No.
No.
But I mean, when we're talking about degrees of oppression, like, when she was district attorney of San Francisco and they weren't prosecuting people for truancy and they weren't prosecuting people for nonviolent marijuana crimes and things, nonviolent drug crimes and things like that. She started to prosecute people for that. So she was regressive. She was regressive. And it's just kind of like, ugh.
It's not good. It's not good. All right, we got to do something. So
okay. Well, what are we going to do?
Here. Let's just do the bean dive, unless there's some objection. Might as well do that.
Yeah, we could do that, or we could all just... I don't know. I guess the only other thing is we could all play the free Overcooked levels together. Okay. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to save the coffee.
I got to actually figure out what my next game on the list was, because I wasn't prepared for this, so... Alright, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done. Alright, down to there. Cool. Ah, nope, wrong game. Quit out of that, I don't want to be playing that game.
And now I know it sounds complex, that artwork was, but I can edit it for like other names and stuff if we need that.
Good, good. We're just getting some more viewers in here. I mean, we're halfway there. We're becoming professional. I mean, I think we're officially professional now. I mean, professional means you get paid for it. Somebody paid us.
I mean, by the strictest, the most broadest definition of professional, we are professionals.
This is how it happens.
Well, you're now a professional. I was always a
yes, you've been a professional. I borrowed your professional prestige to get us.
That's
rolling.
Right. That's right. Okay. Right. Crystal Defenders, yay. Well, while you're doing this, we should talk about whatever the fuck that game is that we were talking about playing.
Man of Medan?
Yes.
We could do Man of Medan.
No, we cannot do Man of Medan because I can't. I won't be able to do it. No, I have a part coming on Wednesday that should fix all of my problems. So, as in tomorrow, but like, tomorrow is not today. So, I mean, I could play it from the Xbox, but I wouldn't be able to stream like my side of it to my channel, so that if someone wanted to like pop out Windows and watch both of them, they could not do that.
Yeah, we gotta work on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I can just do that basically probably Friday or Saturday.
I don't know what the achievements are here.
Can't do it on Thursday. And Wednesday I just don't see myself like leaping to install a capture card in my PC after it finally gets delivered. Which I did get an internal one, and I hope I don't regret this.
Yeah. But mine's external, which just makes it a lot easier, but the internal means you're really getting better quality.
Yeah, I mean, I have 4K pass-through, not that matters because I don't have Xbox One X. However, whatever. I mean, theoretically, in the future, I could stream a PS4 game or a Switch or whatever, because it's HDMI in, HDMI out, which is nice. And the HDMI out is, of course, you can ignore it, and just look through. You don't have to use a monitor. You could just look through the internal monitor if you wanted to. So depends on the lag, but my guess is it's negligible. It's not like I'm playing like a mouse and keyboard first-person shooter where that might matter.
Right. I mean, I figure it's got to be pretty close to enough. Let's throw out another unit here, though. So you're slow. Let's go ahead and pop it down there.
Now, are we doing Streamlabs or StreamYard? Which one did you decide on?
The only one I saw was Streamlabs, so we'll have to talk about that.
Although I think we can probably do StreamYard and Streamlabs at the same time. Because I think StreamYard is just a way to, like, get a stream or get multiple inputs. If you have multiple hosts, it's a way to collect them all together, you know?
Oh, that thing. Yeah, I set up an account for that, so we'll be able to splice and send to Twitch too if we want to. That's the thing that exists. Alright, we are ready to start the wave.
Alright, so I'll read you some random shit that's on my Google feed. So I have 10 novels based on folk horror. And I can tell you that this is probably because Stephen Graham Jones just came out with a book called The Only Good Indians.
Okay.
And, you know, it's kind of buzzy. People want to talk about it. Let me just see if it's on this list. If it's not on the list, then this list is a white supremacist list.
Oh boy.
So, because, oh wow, it's not on this list. Well then.
That's just great.
Great. Here was, you know, you spent that whole entire podcast trying to solve racism, and racism's it's not solved. It's just not solved.
I didn't really expect it to be solved, but I thought maybe we'd have a chance of having successful discussions. I'm not sure if we did or not.
So I was gonna excuse this website because I think it's UK because it's talking about lots of British stuff that I don't care about in this article / list. But then I was like, no, because it's the UK that colonized this continent. So no, they don't get a pass.
No,
so,
they really don't.
They don't. They do not get a pass. So.
Well, this is probably where something really bad happens. I don't think I made it through this wave. I don't think I put enough money into stuff. Oh, I can upgrade now. Oh, no, I want to upgrade you. Why can't I upgrade you? Pause. No. Can I upgrade you? I can place a unit, but I can't. Let's put another soul squad, sure.
Oh wow. So the next article I have is that Cory Booker is a Supernatural super fan, and so he was on a Zoom chat about what's coming up in the show with the three main stars, Jensen Ackles, Jared Padalecki, and Misha Collins.
Okay.
Wow, that's
surprising.
I don't even know what to do with this information. I think my brain is exploding right now.
That's odd. Not a big Supernatural fan, I'll admit. But obviously, it's something I know about. It's pop culture that I know about.
I mean, the show's been on for like 15 years, so...
It's just physical attacks. That's probably a problem.
I guess that's... Now we know your range.
15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and now we know that Cory Booker is a Supernatural superfan, so I don't know if I want to see this. Like, will I get some kind of secondhand embarrassment if Cory Booker acts weird? I mean, he's probably going to act weird, right? Oh gosh, I don't know if I want to look at this. Sometimes I just don't know if I'm gonna be upset by something I see on the internet.
Well, that's just because you're human, so you will be upset by things you see on the internet.
I don't enjoy, like, watching people humiliate themselves. Like, in the sense that, like, if I'm watching it, like, happen in real time or something. Like, I'm not saying Cory Booker will, He's actually pretty good on camera, I think, but I don't know. Whenever you're described as a super fan, it's just like maybe something.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it.
Another thing that's on my feed is that you can get Amazon Fire tablets for $50 off. The HD ones only. So, but the HD8, the HD8 Plus, and the HD10 for 60, 80, and 100. So, if you have $100, you could get an Amazon Fire HD10. How exciting for you! Or you could wait until you had $150 and get a Samsung Tab A, and then not be trapped in Amazon's ecosystem. So. Well, but then you're not trapped in Amazon's horrible ecosystem, which is way worse than Samsung.
There are benefits and drawbacks, I understand.
To an Android tablet that has Amazon on it instead of just normal Android, what would be the benefit?
It's cheaper.
I guess it's slightly cheaper. It is ad supported though, right? So
you can pay to take the ads off, and it's still going to be cheaper than your Samsung. But yes, it is ad supported. I think we'll upgrade. Oh, that's fine. I'll figure out these controls pretty soon. I mean, it's not like they're complicated. I should try this fast forward, RB. Yay! Fire breaks. Yikes. That's a lot of hit points. I got a lot more money now though, so... These soldiers seem to be doing a lot of good, so I'm gonna upgrade those. And start the raid.
I think the main problem is that they're just way underpowered if you want to use them for more than just watching videos.
That's a fair point. They do seem underpowered.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if someone who bought a Samsung Tab A would do much more than that. Because that's not like a productivity tablet, although it probably has more power than a Fire. All I know is that I used to give away Fire tablets because they were cheap and easy to give away. And you can buy them in bulk from Amazon if you're a business. And that's how you know they're not good. Because it's not like I'm out here giving away iPads.
So there's cachet that comes with an iPad as well. So, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Although the people who won them were always happy. However, the one giveaway I ran for a Samsung Tab A has much more buy-in than any giveaway I ever ran for an Amazon Fire, and sometimes I gave away Fires more than once because people didn't claim them. So, but I've never given away a tablet that wasn't a Fire that didn't get claimed. So
the soldier can't hit air. The archers are not going to be enough. The mages aren't going to be enough. Upgrade the mages. Can I upgrade these guys more than once? I'm not going to do that right now, but I'm wondering. I wonder what my follow-up progression is going to be in this game, from level to level. Get the rest of the money. My soldier, he does nothing!
Alright, let's see what else is going on in the world. Microsoft delays Halo Infinite to 2021.
Yeah, I heard November was still a possibility, but... Well, what do I know? I'm not paying a ton of attention, I'll be honest.
The Xbox Series X is still launching in November, but Halo is delayed until 2021, so it's no longer a launch title, basically.
Which is fine by me. I'm not a big Halo fan, right? So it's not no skin off my nose kind of thing. But it definitely seems a little odd that they couldn't get the flagship game going. It speaks to problems with the development of a game like that. And this is a tough time to be doing game development. They got some bad feedback on the game with coronavirus season. But I think that really they're probably too focused on... Ooh, this guy's got a lot of... I think they're just too focused on making the wrong kinds of games still. And that's a hard rut to get out of, but maybe if they realized it first, it's not as bad.
Did you watch Jim Sterling's thing on Marvel Avengers?
I did. I sent you the end cap from that because that was just...
That's what I thought it was from, but I wasn't sure.
That was a well-done video, per usual.
Yeah, he does a good job.
And made a lot of good points. And yeah, the monetization is a huge problem. Captain America wearing Verizon, that's a problem. There's so many of them. Oh my god!
Jesus isn't gonna save you now, because you're doing magic. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. I don't know why you're asking for help.
I have soldiers. Oh wow, yeah, I got one down. That's something. I need more.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to me that there's not really ever been, other than Spider-Man, in Crackdown, but that's kind of generic superheroes, but there's never really been a superhero game that Mr. Des wanted to play. So he played Crackdown and also thought the most recent Crackdown was not good. He's not interested in... I mean, we got a month of Game Pass so he could play it, and then he was like, that's enough. So, like, I don't need to play it anymore. And then he watched me that time we tried to play that other Marvel game that got axed.
Oh, Marvel Heroes Omega.
And he wasn't interested in that.
Yeah, that was an okay game.
He was not interested in what's Gods Among Us from? Injustice. But he did play Spider-Man on the PlayStation, which is the only place you can play Spider-Man.
Because Sony's good.
Because Sony is. I was like, this sounds like a problem that could have been solved with money, but the right amount was not offered at any point in negotiations.
Yay! I got the achievement.
My pod thinks Halo could be really popular if it's half decent.
Yeah, I mean...
Free to play on 2 console generations and PC will have a big audience. Yeah, true. I mean, my brother still kind of has a soft spot for Xbox only because of Halo. But he was talking about not getting an Xbox in the next generation as well, and just getting a PlayStation and whatever Nintendo comes out with, because he's like more Nintendo than he is Xbox.
Yeah,
like I think Halo's really the only thing he cares about there, but he like loves Zelda. It's his most favorite franchise of all time. He still owns an old shitty TV so that he could play the N64 without the resolution being like fucked and stupid.
I guess I didn't install this game on this Xbox, so that's not going to happen. Which means move on to this one. That is also not here? How did that happen? Okay.
All right, so after that is an article that I don't think you would care about. I'm going to skip it. And then Book Riot wants to know, are you a 2 times, 1.5 times, or 1 times audiobook listener?
I don't listen to enough audiobooks to comment on that, but I can talk about podcasts. And I started my podcast experience at 1x. And then I just had too many. And I was like, well, I can try 1.5 and see what it's like. And then I got used to 1.5, and it was getting me through my podcast so much faster. And then I just added more podcasts is what happened. So I was like, well, I need to make it even faster now. So now I'm listening to almost all of my podcasts at 2x. The exception is Conversations with Tyler, which is still 1 to 1.5x. I just can't do more than that.
Well, I listen at whatever the maximum speed I can comprehend is for any given material. With audiobooks, because those readers do read, I find extremely slowly. That's almost always 2x, and sometimes I can go up to 3x depending on the reader and what the content is. So if it's complicated themes to wrestle with, if it's complicated language to wrestle with, or if there's like a lot going on and I need to know details, or if the reader is a little bit faster, like I could never approach 3. There are some people where 2 is just the absolute max I could do. And some books, there have been books where I've had to take it down below 2 for a while. Like A Brief History of 7 Killings was like that. Like when it started, I was like, I can't understand anything, because he just starts the book with Jamaican patois and there's like no guide. He just throws you into it, and you do eventually figure out what all the slang means, and you're fine after a while, but it takes a minute, and so I had to listen to the beginning of the book like normal speed and follow along with the physical book before I could get up to 2 times. So that took me a while. But there's some books where I'm like, oh my god, get on with it, and I'll just push it as close to 3 as I can go.
Yeah, there are definitely times when, depending on the content, it gets going fast enough that it's like, I'm not sure I caught that sentence, but the sentence isn't all that critical, and you just move on right past it, you didn't read it. I try not to do that, but it does happen.
So this is totally not related to me, really, but you like adaptation, right?
I don't know. I like adaptations.
Yo, you're not... I thought you were a fan of the movie Adaptation, which is that Nick Cage
no.
movie about the orchid thief.
Wow, that's a lot of achievements coming up. No, I've not seen that. I think it was recommended to me by my coming-to-be brother-in-law by marriage in awkward ways. I don't know. I think he liked it, and that's maybe why I may have heard of it, but it doesn't sound familiar. Really, it's definitely not something I've seen.
Okay.
Because I don't do a whole lot of visual media.
Well, then I can't tell you that I read a book with the plot of the book that the roommate in Adaptation is writing. So, like, if you've seen the movie Adaptation, and you know exactly what, like, kind of book or screenplay that his roommate, Charlie Kaufman's roommate, is writing, and the twist of it, I actually read a book with that twist, and I was just like, yeah,
Oops.
It's difficult to pull this off.
Oh, speaking of books with plot twists that are difficult to pull off, I did read Randomize. We talked about that last week.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say that for the first chunk of it, I was like, this is a better story. Weir is a better storyteller, and I think that's an important distinction. He may not be a better writer, but he's a better storyteller.
Oh, and well, sure.
Then what happened was...
Stephen King,
Go ahead. Yeah, Stephen King is a great example of a storyteller who may not be a great writer.
Yeah.
But you were absolutely right. The story is coming along.
And
it's like, okay, maybe... crash!
It was like what on earth?
I have 90 seconds to make the elevator pitch, the literal elevator pitch of this book, and complete failure. So and that definitely was not good.
Yeah, it was bad. It was so bad. Like, I was just like, again, in the beginning, I was like, I find quantum computing interesting. I think that Andy Weir doesn't understand how Vegas would use quantum computing.
That's definitely
exactly
true. That was true.
But I'm willing to let it go, because while I don't appreciate people who don't do research, I also don't expect I don't know how much research I expect for a story like this in a collection like this, right?
Right.
But then as it went on, it was like, let me just put this book down for a second and just literally facepalm. Like, what is happening?
Droggle jug.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was super bad. So, like, after I got to the end of it, I was like, well, if The Martian is anything like this, I don't know why it's so popular.
Droggle jug.
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 So did we get all of our achievements really fast in that other?
Yeah, that other
game?
I got a bunch of achievements really fast. I mean, it was pretty impressive.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
So I saw that this is
Droggle
Daedalic.
jug.
What is this?
Droggle jug.
This is Deponia, the first in a 4-game series.
Yeah. I
Droggle
thought it
jug.
looked like Deponia,
Droggle jug.
but I was
Droggle
not
jug.
sure. I think I have all
Droggle
the
jug.
Deponias.
Droggle jug. Droggle jug. Droggle jug.
Yeah, Andy Weir's
jug.
story was the
Droggle
one
jug.
Droggle
I mean,
jug.
the only reason it
Droggle
wasn't the
jug.
lowest rated
Droggle
was because
jug.
Ark
Droggle
was
jug.
also included in that collection, and Ark was worse.
Droggle jug.
Well, Ark
Droggle
wasn't
jug.
worse.
Droggle
Actually,
jug.
Ark was probably
jug.
better, but it was so
Droggle
boring
jug.
and I didn't care.
Droggle jug.
So,
Droggle
like,
jug.
well,
Droggle
that goes
jug.
back to the whole... Ark was probably better written and
Droggle
probably
jug.
had more interesting themes in it in terms of, like,
Droggle jug.
using speculative
Droggle
fiction to
jug.
explore
Droggle
truths about
jug.
current humanity or whatever. But,
Droggle
like,
jug.
it just
Droggle
didn't
jug.
Droggle
in any
jug.
kind of compelling, interesting way.
Droggle jug.
Whereas Andy Weir was like, I don't know what you're doing,
Droggle
but it doesn't make any sense, and I'm not learning anything.
Droggle jug.
So,
Droggle jug. Droggle jug. Droggle jug. Droggle jug. Droggle jug. Droggle jug.
how do I look at an object? Teach me how to game, wise master.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
No,
Droggle
he's doing a
jug.
lot of
Droggle jug.
tutorializing.
Droggle jug.
This
Yeah,
is a
look more
slightly-
closely.
This is a slightly painful tutorial.
Tell us how you really feel.
This game does not look great. I mean, the Droggle jugging from the get-go is perhaps a little much. I think it's supposed to be, like, amusing and entertaining.
Droggle jug.
but
Droggle
it's
jug.
failing.
Droggle jug.
I don't want
I
to
think
look at
White
it. I
Pod-
just
Droggle
wanna
jug.
pick it up.
Droggle
Wrote
jug.
that comment
Droggle
when you were
jug.
playing the bicycle
Droggle
game.
jug.
Oh.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. So if that's the benefit of a bean dive, especially if you're watching someone else bean dive, is you get to see, oh yeah, that money. I don't want to waste money on that game. I don't want to waste money on that game.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug. Droggle jug.
Is this voiceover like an inside joke? I'm not getting. I can't hear the voiceover, White Pod, so I can't answer that question.
Well, I think that there might be some stuff later on, but there are characters that say nothing but Droggle Jug, and apparently that's the tutorial, which is stupid, but... Does my controller die? Okay, yes. Yes, fine. I would like to combine these, please.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
That's one way to save on the localization.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug. Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
Droggle jug.
Droggle
Hey, Kitty,
jug.
what's going on?
Droggle jug. Droggle
Hey,
jug.
Kitty.
You want to come up
Droggle
here and
jug.
say hi?
Droggle jug.
Kitty?
Droggle.
Droggle jug. Droggle jug.
Droggle.
There, that's what I wanted. I wanted the
Droggle
button all
John,
along.
you can
Droggle
get
jug.
an
Droggle
achievement
jug.
for Droggle Jug. Playing the entire game in Droggle Jug mode, where all spoken dialogue is Droggle Jug.
Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug, Droggle. Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug. Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug.
Sounds
Droggle Jug.
pretty irritating.
Droggle Jug.
Yeah, I mean,
Droggle Jug.
I'm going to turn this volume off.
Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug.
Kitty.
Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug,
Kitty, save us.
Droggle Jug.
Kitty, come say hi.
Droggle Jug,
Kitty.
Droggle Jug, Droggle Jug.
Hi, come here. Come here. she's sitting on the stairs looking at me like I've lost my mind because I'm waving my arms frantically over my head to try and get her attention.
Yay! Achievement. We're done with Droggle Jugging.
Droggle Jug. Droggle Jug. Droggle Jug.
Well, he's Droggle Jugging in. I can get to a save spot. Let me figure out what's next.
Droggle Jug. Droggle Jug. Droggle Jug. Droggle Jug. Droggle Jug.
Alright. That's what's next. Come back to this.
So my my USB port extension thingy that I keep on my desk died. It was really sad. Had to buy a new one. And USB 3.0 is expensive. Yo.
Yeah, it can be.
Holy shit.
Let's do this. And this. Kill this.
Come on, kitty.
Because it's, faster, but is that necessary for what you're doing?
Kitty.
What? It's not installed either. What is going on? I had all these games installed. That's why I had this hard drive over here. That's so disappointing.
I mean, necessary?
Well, yeah.
Well, maybe not, but it did get me rapid charge ports. I have 3 rapid charge ports, so that's nice.
That's nice. Can't do that.
Especially because I have a rechargeable battery in the Xbox controller I keep up here. So that's helpful. It's an eternity of grass growing. Then several minutes of apes throwing shit at each other. Well, sure. Okay, let's see. So the person who wrote this audiobook thing said that they'd never even thought of listening to audiobooks faster.
Yeah.
But they listened to podcasts and YouTube at 1.5 speed. So now they're wondering why they never did.
It's performative, right? I mean, I don't tend to watch YouTube at faster speed because that's performative. Podcasts don't feel that way. I mean, it is to a certain extent, but it's not as big of a deal.
Well, with audiobooks, for me, it's about, I think because they go to great pains to not speak too fast and to speak so clearly that they do speak slower than people who were talking to speak. And so for me, it's like, if they're talking slower than my reading comprehension speed would be, then it makes me annoyed.
Yeah, because it's slowly looking down. The benefit is only like if you're driving, you're saving time there because you're multitasking.
Correct. So, but yeah, it's interesting. So then I have a article about how the Google Pixel smartwatch is finally worth my time, which I doubt very seriously.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's any good.
And then Politico reporting on my governor saying that we're broke, which we are super broke. I mean, the state's 3 main industries were destroyed by coronavirus, so like we don't really have a lot going on if people aren't driving, aren't shopping, and aren't dining out or going on vacation. So like I don't know, those are our 3 main industries. So
yeah, Florida's been hit very, very hard.
Well, and we haven't been. It's been interesting because I think we are finally maybe in the top 10 or something like that. Like, it took us a while to get there, which is kind of crazy, but we're nothing else if not willing to accept challenges in the state of Florida. By the way, I read a quote about Florida from 1948, which
man.
just will give you an indication of how Florida has been the way Florida is. Okay,
so you're getting that quote, I gotta look something up real quick.
Florida is a study in abnormal psychology, useful in signaling the hidden derangements of the national mood. Which is from Lawrence P. Lessing's State of Florida in Fortune magazine in February 1948.
Lawrence Lessig?
Yeah.
1948. Is he a vampire?
What? No, I don't know. Maybe there's more than one Lawrence Lessig.
Fine, but I mean, what are the odds? That they both... I mean, maybe they gotta be related or something, right?
I guess it could be Daddy and...
Could be.
Oh, no. No. It's Lessing. There's an N.
Not Lessing.
So it's just very similar. But even Google is like, don't you mean Lawrence Lessig? No, I don't actually.
I'm talking about the guy from 1948.
I don't.
He was like, what?
And then we also have a quote from Hunter S. Thompson, which is, when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro, which is something he said about launching his gonzo journalism career while at Eglin Air Force Base, which is in Florida. So, I mean, we produce Hunter S. Thompson. I think that's, or at least inspired him to become a journalist.
Wow.
That's definitely weird.
Yeah, and...
So yeah, Florida's clearly always been like this. So,
going back to 1929, the Marx Brothers made the film The Coconuts, and watch that. And Florida then is just like Florida today.
It's super weird. Yeah. One of the, who's the Dilbert? Not the Dilbert guy. No, the Dave Barry, the Miami Herald guy.
Yes.
He did a conversation with Tyler.
Yes, I listened to that. It was a really good one.
That one's a really good one, and he does talk about like some of the weirdness that is Miami, and one of the things he says is that like Miami is just Latin America, like all of it, just all, like not any one part of it, just all of it. And I mean that's more or less accurate. So and that's just one part of Florida, but many countries are represented. So Kitty is
remarkably
like
consistent in its varied eccentricities. They're all eccentric in their own unique way.
Well, and different parts of the states are very different. Like Panhandle, which I refer to as Southern Alabama, because it's basically Southern Alabama. Like, I don't even know why it's part of Florida and not part of Alabama. It makes no sense. Geographically, it doesn't make sense. It's in its own time zone because it's so far detached from the rest of Florida. And it takes away almost all of what would be Alabama's coastline if the Panhandle of Florida didn't exist. And so then Alabama only has this tiny little coastline. I don't get it. I think we should chop that part off and just give it to Alabama.
I mean, we should probably do some reorganizing of the states. It's been a long time. Panhandle to Alabama, fine. West Virginia was made its own state. Texas needs to be split up to like 4. California probably needs to be 3 or 4. Let's do
At least 3. Yeah. There's no reason why. And all the states in the middle that are just rectangles because we didn't give a shit, we should probably try and figure out if there are any like cultural type of boundaries that have grown up that would make more sense. But yeah, by and large, there's some stuff that just is the way it is because that's the way it is, and it's like, yeah, but is that how it needs to be?
Okay.
Give the Alaska Panhandle to Canada too. Yeah, why not? I also floated the idea to CROW-nos this week that we buy Russia, and make it part of Alaska, so that Alaska is just like this giant state. But he wasn't into it.
I don't even remember this conversation.
Yeah, it happened.
I'm not saying it did, but I have.
It was when we were talking about that tsunami nuclear weapon.
Okay, yeah.
And,
I misread your statement there. I thought that we needed to buy the weapon from Russia, not buy Russia.
I just want to buy Russia, the whole country.
Yeah,
and then we'll just have the weapon.
That's different.
So,
we don't. But my point was, we don't need to buy that weapon. We have that weapon.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it can't be used against us if we buy Russia.
Okay.
And then make it Alaska.
Why don't we just buy the whole planet?
Well, that's stupid. We don't have enough money to buy China. We'd have to borrow money from China to buy China.
I think that, we're good for it. It's just an investment. Once we invest, we'll get it all back real quick.
Anyway, but yeah, like this week I also learned that there's a nuclear weapon that makes tsunamis that are full of cobalt. They're basically giant dirty bombs.
Yep.
And I mean dirty fucking bombs. Giant dirty bombs. Like goodbye Eastern Seaboard.
Or Western Seaboard.
Or Western Seaboard.
Or both seaboards. Goodbye planet.
Yeah. Although also this week I was watching a video where people were making fun of dystopias in books, which I loved because I also hate dystopias. I think they're stupid most of the time. And the person's thesis was that the writers of dystopias don't really think things through, and the dystopias they describe are like really dumb, like either impossible or so unlikely that it's just there was no one at any point who was like, it's just not gonna happen. But one of them that they were making fun of was Marie Lu wrote the book. I don't remember what the book was called. But the gist of it is that the ocean levels are rising because of global warming. Mm-hmm. And so people have had to move like away from the coasts. So like there's new coastlines to most continents, right? But the map that they've included in it is vastly more water coverage than even the most dire, like if every single polar ice cap melted and there was no ice on the entire planet predictions.
So where'd the extra ice come from?
Where'd the extra ice come from? Yes. But when I was looking at the map, I was like, that's not as bad as I thought it would be. Like the map of like if every single polar ice cap melted, I was like, it would be super bad. Like all of Florida would be underwater. But I would be dead.
Not just the landscape getting washed away and changing, but the change of the climate along the way. Because that is something that affects the climate. Like people say, maybe it's not anthropogenic or something. You can have some arguments like that with people where there's some merit to be had in it, but the whole planet flooding to that level, that has major impact on the climate at that point. There's no getting around that one.
Well, that and like, like as they've looked at really small changes, like the diseases that broke out in Central and South America from the colonists, they cooled the climate of just the deaths of those people took the heat of the climate down enough to cause an ice age in Europe, like a mini ice age in Europe. So even a lot of people dying at once has had a drastic impact on the planet, and that was pre-industrialization, and that I think was 6 million people, something like that. So yeah, like small changes. I mean, not the 6 million people dying is a small change, but like compared to like the shit that we're doing right now, the exhalations of 6 million people can't be. They can't be comparable. Would be my guess.
All right, we got a foxhole and a crow's nest. I like crow's nests.
So yeah, like it's just crazy how much relatively minor changes to our output of greenhouse gases can do, which is terrifying when you consider how many greenhouse gases we put out now compared to what we were putting out in the 17th century. Maybe it just rained extra hard. Isn't rain just evaporated ocean water? I don't think rain comes from like space or anything. Don't we have a finite amount of water? Is that how geology works? I don't understand. I'm not an atmosphere scientist, obviously.
I guess I can't go to this island? That's weird. Well, I got a couple of achievements here, so I can stop anytime we want. And the thing is, I'm actually kind of enjoying this one, so I might want to give it a little bit longer. But we've got 2 more games we can go through. In addition to like, they weren't able to be started for whatever reason.
Well, you can keep going. I'll just keep reading you like the type of shit that I have in my Google feed. I have a Tampa bar that's license has been violated, or license has been suspended for violating COVID-19 regulations. I wonder what they were doing.
Like probably anything?
Yeah, like they're not supposed to be open at all. It's accused of operating as a standalone bar and exceeding its 50% occupancy and not social distancing. Alright, whatever. Yeah, so basically they weren't selling food and they weren't acting like a restaurant, and so, yeah. Gizmodo claims that no iPad screen can compare to the Samsung Galaxy Tab S Plus, S7 Plus, which...
That seems ridiculous.
I assume that thing costs like an insane amount of money.
And if honestly, if it's better than an iPad screen, how good is it? The iPad screens are good enough, at the very least.
It puts out, okay, so allegedly it produces more colors, more vivid colors, and it's $150 less. So it's both marginally better and cheaper, is what it sounds like.
Okay, cheaper is important.
I guess if you were doing art on your screen, that would matter. Alright, moving on, because I'm not buying any more tablets.
Done with that for now.
Look, there's only so many tablets a person can own, and I found more. I had to start giving tablets away to people. Sun comes from the sun, so rain comes from the moon. Oh, is that how? That's how it works?
Man.
I was always wrong. I thought rain came from the ocean. So obviously, I don't understand.
We've learned so much today.
We've learned so much. And I guess it makes sense because, like, the moon is still out when the sun is out, so it can rain anytime. Okay, pandemic highlights... Oh, Andrew Yang says that the pandemic highlights the importance of implementing 4-day work weeks.
Or how about his UBI?
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, he hasn't given up on UBI. Like, he's still working with some organizations on that or whatever.
As he should be.
But the 4-day work week is another part of his thing. When he talks about kind of human-centered capitalism, and how, you know, one of the claims of capitalism was we would all be able to spend more time investing in the arts because we wouldn't have to work so hard because of increased efficiency and whatever. And that's true because, like, let's not pretend that people are actually working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week at their office jobs. Like, there are probably some people who have jobs like lawyers who have to be billing hours and shit, but there's a lot of jobs where people just sit around surfing the internet and then work really fast for like 2 or 3 hours and then they call it a day.
And everybody's happy with the arrangement.
Yeah, except that, you know, maybe we could just... The Earth was once home to the terror crocodiles, nearly the size of city buses. Yeah, I've heard that before. I have also... And also, like, giant sharks. I get it. The Earth used to be scary.
The May.
They're on r/WTF. There was posted today just another normal day in Florida, and it was a bobcat attacking a bobcat and a baby alligator in a fight in someone's backyard. And I was like, yeah, just another normal day in Florida.
Okay.
I want
the FDA is recalling potatoes, lemons, limes, and oranges due to listeria contamination.
Alright, I'm not leaving until I figure out how to pick up this gun.
Pregnant Meghan McCain reveals why she isn't sharing pics of her baby bump. I don't know why I have this information. Not interested in Meghan McCain. Okay, thanks.
Who's Meghan McCain?
Meghan McCain's on The View. That probably came up because I emailed you about The View today. That's she, and Google was like, hey, you like The View, right? And I was like, no, I don't care about The View. Android is becoming a worldwide earthquake detection network.
nothing. I pushed all the buttons, there's nothing happening. Why can't I pick up the gun? I want the gun! Okay, press and hold.
Are you full?
Definitely not.
Have you picked other things up?
Oh, I used my med kit. Apparently I can only have one item.
Interesting.
I thought I had an inventory somewhere, but I couldn't find it.
And that's it. We got to the bottom of my Google thing. I refreshed it.
Reader is very different from mine.
And what are the biggest differences?
I get a lot more politics in mine.
Oh, well, I turned off some politics because I was trying to like be more well-rounded, which is why I get stuff about the view now.
I don't know that makes you more rounded, but maybe it does.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean. Like, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't know that Cory Booker is a super fan of Supernatural.
This is very true. And I could not have survived without that knowledge somehow.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be critical. Essential. Yeah, totally. If I'd known that, I would have maybe, just kidding. I was going to say I might have voted for him, but like, I think he dropped out before we had our primary.
We talked about Cory Booker a fair amount coming up to the election. And I was surprised how poorly he did. And we talked about that as well, because, you know, in an election where you're like, we need another Obama, he sure seems like another Obama. You know, he is a good-looking black man with the right kind of attitudes, progressive enough, but still kind of able to speak to the centrists. A good speech reader, good orator. So
good speech. I'll tell you what I think the problem is with Cory Booker. I think he has a few problems. One, he's not married. Problems. I mean, and we're not into that.
Isn't he? I mean, I didn't know that.
No, he's not married, and he has a girlfriend, and that girlfriend is an actress, actually.
Huh.
So he's dating a dirty Hollywood person. Not specifically that she is dirty, but all Hollywood people are dirty.
Gotcha.
Right.
That's a thing I didn't know, and I can see how that would affect things.
Now,
not necessarily in a good way, but
I think that's something that can potentially hold you back. So I think that's one of his problems. I don't think it's like the reason. I do think that he failed to distinguish himself. Like, I couldn't tell you what his lane was. You know, like what was his lane is corporate Democrat. Like what's his primary issue, the thing that's most important to him? I don't know what that is.
See, I was able to pick it up. Some of these. I put it into the slot. How about sticking the triggers?
Press Y. Press Y.
Alright, pressing Y. B. Holding Y.
No. Because it said crew pick up Y, and I was
right,
like,
but
maybe you can get your like little
tablet.
minion.
The crew can pick up the tablet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think the other part of Cory Booker's problem is that like young, dynamic, cool, hip dude was not an empty lane. You know, he had Robert Francis he had to contend with in that lane.
But he's better than all of them and beat them soundly.
Sure. So he rose to the top of that lane, but then at some point, like, what's your big idea?
Well,
like Obama had big. Well, Obama talked about getting everyone health care.
No,
like
he
that
didn't.
was actually on the campaign trail.
No,
he talked.
Very, very little was said about health care when Obama was running. Once he was elected, they pivoted to health care because they had a majority, and like we could finally get this thing that we wanted to get done for generations done. It was not actually something he pitched
let's
for.
See what his main ideas were.
Hope and change. We're going to make things better because we're tired of 4 years of Bush.
Which is fine. I mean, I think any Democrat would have won in 2008. I don't think Bush or
McCain was a terrible candidate anyway. So
yeah, no Republican was winning in 2008. So fine, you know. But I do think that Obama did build this coalition of younger people and disaffected people and people of color based around change, but not just the word. Like, I think he did have some things that he was talking about, and I think healthcare was one of them.
Feels like I'm missing things. I need to not be missing things.
Oh my gosh,
healthcare
12 years ago was so long.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but then I start thinking about it. It's like, I don't remember who he ran against. That's probably a bad sign, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he did run against McCain.
Right, so...
I didn't vote for either of them, I don't think.
No, I did not either.
If I voted for one of them, it would have been for Obama, but I don't
think I voted for Red. And I would have, every election I do that against my head, I have to choose one of the two large party candidates, and in 2008, it was Obama instead of McCain, because McCain's a Jonah, and, was a Jonah.
I mean, I'm not voting for someone as deep state as McCain. Like, ever. I can't imagine who he'd have to be running against. I mean, it would have to be someone, like, truly... Yeah, I can't even imagine.
McCain versus Biden. Here's one.
No, because, like... Well, that's true. Then it's just two warmongers. I wouldn't vote for either of them.
That would be awful.
I'm not voting for... I don't vote for warmongers, man. That's just, like, a hard line I have had to draw with...
Well, that's interesting, because we had a conversation earlier this week, 2 days ago, about some weird election results that I've been involved in, where I made choices that were not what I would normally do. So that's... I will vote for candidates that are outside my comfort zone, because the alternatives just don't line up right. So, I still haven't got any. Yeah, I want that. I still can't get another skill though. Oh, it's over there. I thought I explored that area. Interesting.
I'm going to click on his primary campaign, because that would have been where he was more...
Okay, that's fair. I probably wasn't paying attention as much during the primary. So 2007, 2008, what would he have been talking about? Because at that point, I knew him mostly because he had been giving some strong speeches for the DNC and in the Illinois Senate. I mean, I knew of him by that point.
Yeah. It's interesting because he actually said on the campaign trail that the United States should be willing to strike al-Qaeda targets inside Pakistan without the consent of the Pakistani government, which he did do. So, kept that promise.
Well, I was
what? If we have actionable intelligence about high-value terrorist targets, I mean, the president won't act, and you will. Yeah, I mean, that's the main promise he kept, eh?
Yeah, he was not adverse to using force. He is not a pacifist, despite winning the Nobel Peace Prize. So, awkward.
Why would you give a Nobel Peace Prize to someone who said that?
Why would you give a Nobel Peace Prize to him for winning the election, essentially? Because he got rid of the war criminal in the office. That was the theory, I guess.
And he did have some rhetoric around ending the war, particularly the involvement in Iraq. But it's like, he didn't ever do anything with that. No. Like, look, Nobel Prize people, just wait for him to actually do something about it. And then turns out you don't have to give him the award because he's just as big of a war criminal as all the rest of them.
They're not. I can't recruit more than one.
Honestly, not even fucking Wikipedia can talk about what his policies were.
Yeah, because he was incredibly milquetoast, as was Booker. Although Booker did give some more details, but it was a lot of, this is how it should be, this is how I want it to be, rather than actual policy prescriptions. You know, you want policy prescriptions, you had to talk to William Castro for the most part, and that's just crazy.
That is probably what sank his campaign, being like,
that short and stuff, so...
Yeah, he's short. I do think that still probably matters.
It does. Way too much.
And I think that's why Booker had an edge, is because he's not short.
No, he's a tall, good-looking guy.
He's pretty big. Didn't help Bill de Blasio.
Because he's not. Well, he's tall, but he's also he. That's the worst part. He had so much success on that debate stage because of his physical intimidation. You know, his size and his ability to bull his way into that was super annoying, but it got him way more airtime than he deserved based on his polling numbers, right?
De Blasio, sure, yeah. I think he was one of the people who was definitely weighted like way more heavily than his poll numbers would suggest he should be.
We could have had Marianne Williamson.
I mean, we could have had Marianne Williamson. One of the things I thought of while I was listening to the Fire Next Time podcast was Paul was complaining about how he can't stand it when people say things like that have any kind of like woo-woo or like Zen yoga vibes to them or whatever.
Yep, not
and
his thing.
I immediately was like, Marianne Williamson could have been president and saying all the same shit that James Baldwin is saying in this book. If only we had been willing to open our minds and our hearts and our spirits to defeat Trump with love,
it could have worked. It would have been a better choice than what we ended up with.
Honestly, she probably wouldn't start any new wars. And I'm pretty sure Joe Biden's going to invade Venezuela. So, you know.
Okay.
That would be an area where she would be superior.
I need to stop hitting my crew member with my machete.
Well, I can not find anything that Obama talked about, but I honestly thought he did talk about, like,
I really think
system bad, we need healthcare, stuff like that.
Very, but it was going to be Democratic talking points as of, circa 2008. So it wasn't Medicare for all. It wasn't even.
Well, I don't think he was even.
There was nothing close to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, plus he probably could have just pointed at Hillary Clinton and been like, I'm not that. So,
which is kind of what we ended up with. That's how we got Trump.
That's how you get Trump.
All right. How do I save? That was a good roll, so I can go really, really far.
Okay. You meet your 18-year-old self. You're allowed to say 3 words. What do you say?
My 18-year-old self. Like, what part of 18? Early 18 or late 18?
I don't think it matters. At any point, you can just choose the day.
She's just not that into you. If I could actually believe myself...
That's way too many words.
How many words am I supposed to give me?
3.
Oh. 1999. By Google.
See, I thought about that, but I think that's the wrong message.
It's probably the wrong message.
I'll tell you why. Google's IP, people were all over that.
They were.
They were waiting. Here's what I think is a better message. Buy Amazon.
Oh yeah, it's probably better. I was thinking that as we were talking
because,
about it, it's like, that's a much better option.
They struggled for like a decade and no one took them seriously except for a few people, and those people are probably all billionaires now. So buy Amazon. That's the message. And then you can just become president. Well, we don't know for sure because the Bloomberg thing didn't work out.
Yeah, you can't just buy your way there. You got to have a little bit of charisma or something. But
Michael Bloomberg definitely does not have charisma.
That's amazing. How
like we were, or Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin. Fair. Buy Bitcoin.
You don't even
what do you think would?
that's probably not been borne out, and it's so much later. You want something that's going to hit a little earlier. You want something closer to 99, and Amazon makes more sense there. But buy Amazon / Bitcoin. You still have another word, right? So that gives you both best of both worlds. But I think personal life advice:
invent Bitcoin.
Invent
Bitcoin.
That's pretty good. I like that one. Well done, Bipod.
Yeah. So, because in 1998, Amazon existed, but I don't think.
Right, because by 1999, when I was 18,
they existed as like Amazon. That weird website you could order books from on the internet.
And I was buying books from them. It was great.
Yeah, that was what they sold. That was the only thing they sold. So buy Amazon stock, maybe add stock in case your 18-year-old self doesn't understand that you mean buy the stock and not just like buy books from Amazon. So
yeah, I mean, when you're 18, you're stupid. We know this.
Yeah, so buy Amazon stock.
That's your extra word.
That's the message. Use your extra word wisely.
But the thing is, but Amazon's not a public company yet. Well, wait.
Because there was such a rush on Google's IPO. So, but like Amazon didn't have that because it built over time. You could also say buy Netflix, but I think Amazon's your better bet, really. So you could also say buy Apple because like someone was talking about on the 10th anniversary of the iPod and $50 of Apple stock instead of an iPod, it'd be worth $15,000 today. So it's like, even Apple, if you buy Apple pre-iPod, that's still worth some big money one day. Because then in 1998 is when Steve Jobs is not with Apple and they're like fucking up really bad, right? Let's see. When did he come back? Yeah, because he was probably at Pixar then, right? So they wouldn't have been doing anything.
Oh, I can fly up. Cool. Okay. Yes, I need to absorb these things. But she doesn't actually jump. She falls.
So he returned to Apple in 1997. So, but he didn't come out with iTunes, iPod, any of that till 2001.
Yeah,
so you would still have time. But really, I think Amazon is still probably your better bet, because my guess is that whatever Amazon was trading for in 1998, which is when I would be talking to myself, it would have been less than what Apple was trading for.
Well, Amazon was still private.
If Amazon was even trading.
Right, it's private then, I think.
Yeah, let's see when the Amazon IPO was. Yeah, 1997. So they started at $18 a share, and only $10,000 worth of investments were made during their IPO. Just think about that. That's how much people believed in Jeff Bezos. Terrible, fucking terrible. Anything you invested on that day, if you'd invested on that day, that would be worth $12 million now.
How much?
If you invested $10,000 on during the IPO, it'd be worth $12 million. So 1,000 would be worth $1.2 million.
Good money still.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. That, and you could probably, reinvest your capital gains if you trusted your future self and you just hung in there. You probably would be set. Yeah, so the iMac had just come out in 1997. Bipod is saying.
I hated that computer so much.
Yeah, but it was popular because it was cute.
It was the only computer that was available in my College of Computer Labs, so I learned how to use Macs because I had to for so many projects. It was so bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, buy Amazon stock. I think that's That's the one for 1998.
And be like Paul.
And be like Paul. Well, so let's talk about the ethics of what we're telling our 1998-year-old selves to do, because Amazon isn't evil in 1998, so technically our 1998-year-old selves aren't participating in
right. If they just own it, and maybe they get a chance to change that behavior with their cleverish behaviors.
Or they can leave and invest in another company because they're a millionaire now. Whichever.
Just go, Selma. Come on. Thank you.
The part that I did love the best, well, not the best. I mean, I probably loved Travis blaming Paul for the Holocaust, or forcing him to apologize for the Holocaust, or whatever that was. But the other part where when Paul was just emphatic that Amazon creates jobs and no, they're not sweatshops, and it's like, I think I'm going to quibble with you over the definition of sweatshop, because unless you're defining it very narrowly in like a 19th century industrial revolution sense of the word, I think we can probably say that some Amazon jobs are sweatshop jobs. Like, Walmart doesn't keep an ambulance outside of the Walmart in case the employees have heart attacks while they're running around restocking the shelves. I'm just saying. Selma stays here.
I gotta figure out this puzzle then. She doesn't jump.
It says you can jump.
Yeah, she doesn't. I figured it out. I don't know how I figured it out, but don't come yet.
That's what she said.
Oh boy.
I did see an interview with Marianne Williamson about apologizing for the Holocaust and how, the German people have apologized for it a ton of times, and it actually seems to be making them feel better. And that, the United States needs to do the same thing with slavery, is have the same attitude about it. If for no other reason than it seems to make the people who are, if not guilty themselves, because it's not like any of us participated in slavery, but the guilt by association group, it makes you feel better, so just friggin' do it. She's like, yeah, they get fucking every bus and taxi cab in Israel is a Mercedes, and it's not because they really like German engineering. It's just because the Germans felt so bad, and or even if they didn't feel bad, they pretended to feel bad, and they probably still felt better through that, the catharsis of giving and working through their feelings.
So yeah, we should apologize more, and even if we give token reparations, it might be something, and it probably
maybe don't use the word token. I mean, I'm just saying, just find a synonym.
What? A Chuck E. Cheese coin?
No, worse. Definitely worse. Maybe just say symbolic, or emblematic. What else?
No, see, that doesn't work though. I understand.
Symbolic is better than emblematic. Symbolic.
Yeah, symbolic is better than emblematic, but I still don't like it. All right, we got one more.
It's the optics are better than token though, so.
Optics. It's audio.
You know what that means.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so this is yet another reason why Marianne Williamson should have been president. And it's just frustrating that she's not the nominee. So And she's not even the vice presidential candidate. Because honestly, if she had been,
it'd be at least a little more entertaining.
Would I vote for Joe Biden if Marianne Williamson was his VP?
How much coronavirus is in the system at that point?
It's tough because I don't know that I think he's like a 2-term president, but he is a war criminal, so it's tough, and he probably wants to invade Venezuela. He's one of the biggest
whoever they tell him
Central and South America in the entire Senate. So, like, he said some truly chilling and disturbing stuff about the United States' responsibility vis-a-vis Central and South America. So, now he may have forgotten that. I mean, that's possible. Like, he doesn't remember that he wants to invade Venezuela. But then if someone reminds him, someone in the deep state,
it's like, oh yeah, that does sound good.
All you have to do is tell them they have a lot of oil.
The deep state's all over that.
Deep state loves oil. The war machine needs grease. How many more games do you have to bean dive, do you think?
This is the last one. The rest aren't on my hard drive. There's 2 more that I missed, and there's some that I didn't finish. Like, if we wanted to keep going once I'm done with this, we could go back to Book of Demons, which was in my original bean dive. That's a really fun game, but it took me an hour to an hour and a half, and I still hadn't unlocked an achievement. I was like, no, I gotta move on. So, I'll get to an achievement eventually. That's a Diablo-esque kind of game, and a lot of fun. So I would happily play more of that. I would happily play more of almost all of these games. There's been very few games in the Bean Dive where I was like, yeah, I regret that one. One of them has Been Heroes, which looks like a fine game. I really think it's pretty good. It looks like it's really rewarding. It has a very high skill cap. The problem is that the controls, the way that they set it up on the controller just doesn't feel good for me. And I think that it's going to require so much time to get good at it, to do the things that the game requires of me, that I won't enjoy the experience. I haven't been back to Mad Max. No, we also missed out on Mad Max, so we could go back to Mad Max and actually get an achievement there. I forgot about Mad Max. I saw it recently, but do not let the aliens destroy it, or you'll be cut off from reinforcements. Okay. Don't drop the backpack.
So a friend of mine posted on Facebook just now that kooky conspiracy theories are detracting from the very real issue of child sex trafficking. And I'm sure this has got to be about Epstein. Like, I'm skimming and it's not specifically about Epstein, but it's like, it's about Epstein.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
but is he the conspiracy theory, or is he the real one, and then conspiracy theories are preventing us from discovering how bad his problems really were? Which direction is this going?
She's talking about how she got off the phone with her boss at the Underground Railroad, which and they had talked for 4 hours about all this stuff, all this horrible stuff, and she was crying her eyes out. And what we didn't mention in our hour-long conversation? Pizza, hot dogs, Hollywood elites, or any of the other child sex trafficking conspiracy theories raging around the internet. But it's like, some of the Hollywood stuff has turned out to be not
conspiracy. Yeah, that stuff.
In other words,
too.
We know that Harvey Weinstein was a major abuser. We know that he convinced some women in Hollywood to, introduce him to women who wanted help. We know about NXIVM and all that shit. And the Hollywood people were really super involved in that. Like, there are actual Hollywood connections. Now, I'm not saying that the bulk of child sex trafficking is done by Hollywood. Obviously, it's done by gangs. It's primarily done by gangs. So,
but for money,
for money, yeah. So, but I think we have a problem when we say no, this is total BS when it's like there's actually evidence, because then it's like, well, now why should I believe anything you say about child sex trafficking if you won't admit the stuff that there is evidence for?
Yeah.
Just say, yeah, the Pizzagate thing, probably still not real, despite how chummy Clinton and Epstein were. But Clinton having gone to Lolita Island on the Lolita Express or whatever probably happened, or at least plausible at this point. So,
yeah,
maybe that's
he's all into that kind of stuff, right?
What? Sorry?
Clinton is probably all into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it seems unlikely at this point that he isn't. I mean, he's so much closer to Epstein than almost anyone else in terms of who they connect him to.
You know who else probably
famous?
Trump. I mean, it's not like it's one party here.
Well, not only that, but like the problem is that even Trump eventually had to ban him from Mar-a-Lago for harassing the girls in them who did the massages.
That's a really bad sign.
Trump had a line and Epstein crossed it. Like, and I
say that again.
Trump had a line and Epstein crossed it. So that just shows you how bad of a dude Epstein is, or was, before he didn't kill himself.
He totally killed himself. It's not a murder. Just like Elaine is not going to kill herself.
She is on suicide watch, though, so
well, of course,
expect her imminent demise. So this is part of that, like, false dichotomy that is so prevalent in all discourses about anything right now, where it's like, if you admit that some of the things that the conspiracy theorists were right about, that means that they're right about everything. No, it doesn't. It does not mean that. And you can still say that they're bad actors because they're not working in any other way to help the victims of child sex trafficking. You can still say that. Like, you don't have to try and pretend like Epstein isn't a problem. That just makes you look weird. Like,
so Wypod is saying that he did dive Has Been Heroes as well, and he didn't remember anything bad about it. No, it's not bad. I think it is a genuinely high quality, really good game that is not in my wheelhouse right now. If it was the only game I had, I think it'd be amazing. But it's going to require so many hours of learning to get to be even acceptably good at it, let alone complete and master, that I just can't see myself playing it right now. It's too frustrating for me, and it takes up too much of my time, which I have to, I've got 800 games started on my tag, and I've completed 340 of those. That means I have 550 games still to play. Has Been Heroes is just one of them. It's not the highest priority. Doesn't mean that it's not a good game. I think it probably is, like I said, a very good game. But not every game is for every person in every situation. I was really happy to sink over 100 hours into Slay the Spire to learn it, to earn all the achievements there. It was a great experience, but I had a ton of fun with it. And even from the beginning, the controls and everything made sense. It was just wrapping my brain around the puzzle. Has Been Heroes, it wasn't wrapping my brain around the puzzle. I understood what to do. I couldn't get my fingers to do it. I was right where I was going with some of that. Anyway, this one's another roguelike-ish. I collected 800 currency units there, and I get to use it to power up. It's also very high ratio. It's one of those where not a lot of people have played it, but it went on sale for 99 cents. And I've bought a lot of games at 99 cents, and most of them have been terrible, but this one actually seems like it's pretty decent from what I was looking at. It's like, yeah, I'll give that a shot. And for $1, I'm not out very much. And I'm not so much of a completionist that I can let it, if it turns out that it's too hard for me or not enough fun, but I can let it go. Like, I bought the free-for-all Squirrels game, Free Fall Racers. I bought that for 99 cents. I will probably never finish it, both because I can't get past a certain course to be successful, but also is like, how much do I want to spend time and effort playing this game that I got for 99 cents that just really isn't all that fun? If this is fun, I'll just take a lot of time into it, though. Provided that, I have enough time with the other games. It's always a, how much time do I have to play all the cool games that I have available to me when they keep making new games that I also want to buy and play. Yeah, it'd be great to play games for a living. Until it's not. So as soon as you start doing it for a living, it's not fun anymore somehow. But at least I wouldn't have to deal with child abuse anymore. That'd be nice.
I mean, that would be good, because I gotta tell you, like, I still read about it more than, like, the average person probably, and I don't think that's ever gonna change, but, and I still give more money to fighting it than I also think the average person does, and I don't think that's ever gonna change.
I think that 15 years of it has left permanent trauma on both my mind and my soul.
Yeah, like, I think that, I only did it for 5 years. Or 2003, so 5, 6, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's a much different amount of time from you, but I have permanent trauma from it, in that I have really significant compassion fatigue about the issue, where I find it to be morally and ethically repugnant, of course, but I don't have like an emotional response to hearing about it anymore, because I'm just permanently numb on this issue, really. So like I can, I recognize the gravity of hearing about it and everything, and I'm horrified when I hear about it to a certain degree, but it's primarily an intellectual thing. It's not an emotional thing. Like, I don't get sad,
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much only get mad. That would be the only emotion that I would have, and I'd have to really hear something like when I was watching the Epstein documentary, I was mad. I was fucking mad. But I was mostly mad over that, the Palm Beach police did everything right, and the fucking federal government fucked them and all the victims over and just let them walk. And it was just appalling, to see these cops who were because he was so rich and he was so famous and he was so well connected. We triple checked everything, and we did 10 times the amount of work we would for any other person. We were absolutely totally sure that there was no way he was going to walk. The judge we took the warrant to signed it in an instant. He was just like, Jesus Christ, at no point was there a problem. And then he doesn't go to jail,
Nothing
happens. Nothing happens. And that was the part that I was just like, I mean, if we can't put someone this bad in jail, what are we doing?
That is one of those once we do get them in jail, it's often, oh, hello, purple green. It's often because they've been doing something bad for long enough that we're like, yeah, this can't continue anymore.
Yeah. So, but anyways, so yeah, I think if you got out of it, you are gonna have, I don't know what form your trauma takes specifically, if it's more you're more easily upset, less easily upset, whatever. It's probably gonna stick with you to some degree, would be my guess.
Ooh, gosh, ow. Oh.
Wow, that guy really...
They packed a punch.
He just took it out of you, man. Oh. So, but yeah, it would be nice. I guess I could get some kind of other job.
Yeah, but I have so much experience and the pay is what I need, so...
Yeah.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, plus you have benefits that you're not going to get elsewhere.
Yeah. So it's
worth
really
a lot
hard
of
to get
money.
those things up.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that I should just think about money and whatnot. That's obviously not true.
Yeah, but I also totally reject the idea that you know, I mean, we live in the society that we live in, and money matters a lot in this society, right? So, like, to pretend like I think it's really damaging in a lot of ways to pretend like money doesn't matter at all, and you just need to like find your bliss or whatever.
Yeah. you need to be able to pay the bills and have enough money saved up so that you're not destitute. You don't have to be rich, but the question is, what is rich versus what is like a middle class and acceptable thing? So I talk about this with my father from time to time because he's got some concerns of his own and he wants to make sure I'm taken care of because he's my father and he cares about me. And a lot of those questions come down to, well, you do middle class work, you should be able to get a middle class wage out of it, and if where you're working doesn't give it to you, then that's a huge problem, but it's their problem, not yours, except that it is your problem as well, because now you have to deal with the consequences. How are you going to make it whole so that you can... how am I going to be able to have fun on a Tuesday night playing games with my friends and talking to people if I don't make enough money to buy an Xbox? And not everyone gets to, but maybe everyone ought to be able to, right?
Well, this kind of goes back to some of that conversation that you were having with Paul and Travis, and that James Baldwin is kind of talking about as well. And I was saying that one of the solutions to going forward is to identify inequalities that primarily affect communities that we consider to be marginalized, but make the solutions to those problems universal. So you have universal buy-in. So instead of saying we're going to find all the lead pipes in historically black neighborhoods like Flint and Baltimore and we're going to fix them, you just say it's just not going to be acceptable past XYZ date for anyone to be drinking water out of a lead pipe in the United States of America. And we are going to invest in the infrastructure in whatever way necessary to make sure that's not happening. Or whatever the issue is with the water pipe, And then, yes, does that primarily help marginalized communities? Sure, but it doesn't only help marginalized communities. It technically ensures that every American has drinking water. So...
I just landed right in the freaking
lava. Oh no!
That was so awful.
So bad.
Just greedy. I got to the end. I'm like, I can complete the level, but I want the monies. I want the monies.
This is what happens on unbridled capitalism. You put your life on the line when you don't have to. And so, yeah, I do think having like some kind of common sense solution to improving the work we
need with that kind of thing, though. I mean, like one of the risks of UBI, which could solve a lot of economic inequality in a lot of interesting ways, is how do you do it in a way that doesn't permit inflation, right? Because that'd be devastating. How do you make sure the landlords aren't screwing over the population when everyone's got that much money? They just say, well, we'll just increase the rent by that much.
Well, and that's a question that Andrew Yang got asked a lot. He said that, inflation would have to rise in consumer goods to some kind of astronomical amount to where you'd be spending $10,000 more a month than you previously would have for it to make a dent. And that's just, there's no way that the market would tolerate that, because all it takes is Walmart saying, we're not going to participate in that. And then it's all over for everyone else, right? So, and I do believe that he's right about that. Yeah. I do think that even if Walmart doesn't save everyone, even though I think they're the company most likely to, there's gonna be some hippie, like Grove Collaborative kind of deal that will do something. There's gonna be someone who's gonna use $1,000 a month that they have coming in to kind of figure out a solution to that. So I have faith in that. in that he's right about that. So he does say that he identifies 3 main areas where we could have a problem: education, healthcare, and housing. And he said
already the ones that are getting cost disease going.
That's what he said. He said these are all things that any administration has to target anyway. You know, because they're all out of control. They're all completely out of control. And he recognizes NIMBYism as a huge problem with housing. He recognizes, you know, Walmart's the company most likely to save everyone deaths 2020. I know, it's so funny because we had CROW-nos and I had this conversation, a similar conversation a while back where I had posed the question, who's going to save us from Amazon? And I had come to the conclusion it was going to be Walmart. And I was disgusted with the world. Like, I just couldn't. It made me sad. But I think it's true. I think it's true. You know, I think it's fucking Walmart's going to save us from Amazon. And I hate Walmart too. Walmart is in my 3 most evil companies, although I'm considering changing my 3 most evil companies.
Okay, so Walmart, Amazon, Google?
No. It started with Disney, Starbucks, Walmart was when I first made the list. And then Starbucks actually really made a lot of improvements to where they were really putting their money where their mouth is in terms of exploiting people in developing nations, and really doing what they... I mean, I don't think they could possibly be doing more to ensure that the people who grow their coffee have a living wage and healthcare and things like that, you know? And they didn't used to. So while they do still create problems with, like, you know, closing mom and pop coffee shops, I mean, sure, but like there's always a hipster coffee shop you can go to, really, so fine. So I removed Starbucks and I replaced Starbucks with Monsanto.
Okay.
Because I don't think we should ever forget that Monsanto exists.
And it's so easy.
So then it was Disney, Monsanto, and Walmart. But now I do think obviously Amazon's got to be in the top 3. So who comes off? Is it Disney or Monsanto? And much as it pains me to say this, I think I do have to take Disney off the list.
Yeah, I think they're not as evil.
I don't think they're as evil as Amazon or Monsanto. So I think the top 3s. Yes, YPod, Nestle could be up there. Nestle is horrendously awful, particularly in terms of exploiting people in developing nations over coffee or chocolate. And because they're so pervasive, it's very difficult to ethically purchase chocolate. And what they're doing with water is horrible. We have problems with them here, actually. With there's a lot of spring water that comes from Florida, of course, because we have some of the largest freshwater reserves. A huge part of our state is a giant river, and we have tons of springs and whatnot. But yeah, they're doing, like, there's definitely always a scandal about, like, a spring being destroyed or a lake being ruined or something from Nestle or one of their subsidiaries.
I just have to note for a second that my character name, because I've died a couple of times, but my backpack has already been saved, so I haven't lost. But they send down a new Marine whenever I die. My Marine's name is Bang Howdy. All right, sorry, continue.
All right, well, so the question is, like, if we're going to put Nestle in the top 3, which that's fair, then I think we probably have to admit that Walmart is not as evil as some of these other companies, which is not to say that Walmart has improved at all over the years. It's so much to say is that so many other companies are just worse now.
Well, I still think Facebook needs to be very high on that list. I know that that's not the most popular opinion, but I've stated that Facebook is the most evil thing in the past 100 years, basically.
Facebook is not going to be around long because you're going to nationalize it, right?
Well, but that's because they're evil, right? Get rid of them. and that's not so much of an issue anymore.
What was the guy who was making the argument about social media and the British Empire? Was it Facebook or was it Google?
I don't know.
Let me see if I can find it. Like I sent you some think piece about how some social media company had the equivalent of world power that it hasn't existed since the British East India, since the British East India Company.
Right. Was that Twitter?
That's what it was. And I think it's Facebook, but
yeah, that does also make sense. Okay, that's bad. I'm Jay Goldblum.
Oh no, it was Alphabet. But same diff. So I mean, we can argue whether Google or whether Alphabet is more pervasive than Facebook / more damaging than Facebook. I definitely think that Facebook has a lot of the same negatives as Google, but then also it has some of its own special negatives, and I think that's just largely because Google didn't really succeed at social media in the way that Facebook did. So Facebook has unique negatives. But in terms of what Facebook does, which is like make people irrational and hyper emotional, and that is bad. I mean, is it worse than what Monsanto and Nestle and Walmart and any other company that produces huge amounts of stuff in third world nations does? I mean, cheap clothing, the destruction on the planet from cheap clothing is like,
it's awful. It's
just horrible.
So I can't remember. It was some podcast I was listening to, and I think it might have been Time for Conversations with Tyler, but it might have been Make Me Smart, and it had the guest talking about the cost of cheap clothing, not just the cost to us as the consumers of being cheap and then the money, but obviously the workers and all that comes out. It's so stunning how impactful that is. And people buy clothes and wear it once. The average number of times that any garment ever gets worn is like 5 or 6.
Yeah. Well, and we've had this conversation before where I've talked about like this is an issue that affects the poor more because, they can't afford to spend $100 on a pair of shoes that's going to last years. So they have to repeatedly buy and replace shitty shoes, and it's the same with all other forms of fast fashion. But the problem is like, even if you're like, okay, so I only want to buy ethical and sustainable clothing, just the clothing just being expensive does not mean that it's not, as problematic as some of these fast fashion companies.
How do you know that it's not just going into profit margins for Mr. Big?
Right. Because, there are companies where the clothes are not cheap that are still in Bangladesh, I mean, so poisoning water and burning people to death in factories that catch fire and are chained closed so they can't leave work early. So, I mean, it's just... Anyway, so my thing has been that the way I've dealt with this is I only buy clothes in 3 colors now, pretty much. White, gray, and black. And then I just don't have very many pieces of clothing, but the pieces of clothing that I do have are well made so that they'll at least last me a long time.
I cannot tell you that when I bought a piece of clothing that was new.
Well, I mean, your circumstance is a little bit different in that you have someone in your household who really enjoys thrifting.
That's true.
So, I mean, I wouldn't expect you necessarily to be buying new clothes a lot. And thrifting is more sustainable than even what I'm doing. So,
but it's it does come with some drawbacks. The clothes don't fit as well.
Right.
And I'm not exactly the easiest person to fit anyway. I'm not a normal shape. I'm way too short. I'm fatter than I ought to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything is going to come at a cost. The question is the cost going to be to you, either in money or time, or is it going to be to the planet or some human being who doesn't have any other choice and is just trying to survive?
Right, and when we talk about slave labor, obviously we were talking about that specifically with the discussion of slavery and how that affected things. But what people are doing for wages in places like Bangladesh is not exactly better. Okay.
No. Well, especially okay, let's skip Bangladesh. Let's talk about cobalt mining and the shit that's going down in the Congo over all of that, because we're talking about kids dying and losing limbs.
So we're back to the Congo, huh? Jeez.
Yeah.
Poor
so there's a lawsuit where a bunch of families in the Congo are suing a bunch of Belgian companies that are exploiting children for mining operations there. Children have died. Children have lost limbs from handling the cobalt. They need it for phones or something. I don't know. So, and I just actually loved the karma of basically the people of the Congo suing the people of Belgium. Like, that really worked for me on a schadenfreude level. I was like, it couldn't happen to a better group of people. So, not that the people of Belgium currently,
they're fine, but the history is that's messed up. It worked out.
The history is really fucking messed up, super bad, and it sounds like they're still at it. So, because a lot of these companies that have these exploitative mining practices in the Congo are Belgian. At least, that's where their headquarters are, if they aren't, in fact, actually Belgian companies. So, and they're also suing, anybody who makes a phone, basically, as well. But they're also suing the mining companies. And so, at that point, and these kids are making something like 50 cents a day. It's not like they're making anything even resembling a living wage in the conditions in which they live. So, it might as well be slavery.
Yeah.
I mean, it is slavery, essentially. And also, they don't have a choice.
Damn it.
So, that's another commonality between it and slavery. And there are allegories to the fact that some 7-year-old in the Congo had to lose an arm so that I could have a smartphone.
Kendra war hamster.
To what was going on between the northern states pre-Civil War and where they were like, slavery is bad, we should abolish slavery or whatever, but no one was willing to talk about raising the price of cotton. There was no one in the North who was like, if we just pay more for cotton, then they can free all the slaves and pay them a living wage.
That's not how that works. It's not good enough.
That's not a conversation that came up ever, right? So, and that's kind of how it is now, where it's like, well, I mean, I still want a phone. There's not enough.
You need a phone. You need a new phone, but you need a phone. I think that it's the point that a cell phone, particularly even a smartphone, is so close to essential that everyone that you interact with, from the corporations to the other people in your lives, are going to expect you to have a phone. And if you don't, it just interferes with your ability to do business.
Yeah. I mean, especially because my business is completely reliant on social media.
Right, especially for you. And that's just you. There are a lot of small businesses that are in a similar situation. Restaurants doing things on social media. That's how my wife finds a lot of good deals from our local restaurants. They're doing a thanks to the community night now. This isn't happening so much anymore because of obvious circumstances, but the ad would go out on Facebook, and that's the advertisement that they're using. It's their wall, and she's subscribed, she follows them, and hey, it's 20% off our meal, and 10% of the meal price also goes to this charity or to the local school or something, because they're advertising and drumming up business, and then we'll come back. And one of our favorite restaurants does this a lot, and we go there much more often than we would have otherwise because of stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I basically come to the conclusion that it's probably impossible to be an ethical consumer completely.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be the sticking point of you have to give up phones, anything with a screen, and if you can't do that, then you just can't be an ethical consumer. However, you can drastically reduce your cooperation with this horrible system that we have going on now.
I think part of it comes back to what we were talking about with income. You need a certain amount of income to live. And by and large, everyone in this country and the surrounding first world nations has that. We don't have a whole lot of people who are in seriously dire straits. Yes, there are kids who are not getting enough to eat. But by and large, most people get enough money to survive. There are a lot of things that can be done to make that better. But in the meantime, they're surviving on income that they get. Anyone who's above that subsistence level, what are you spending that extra money on? That's where you have some more choice in how ethical you can be. And one of the most ethical things you can do is just not consume it.
Yes.
Give it to someone who isn't succeeding, or save it. Invest it into things that are going to produce benefits for the entire thing long term, and not just Amazon. We talked about buy Amazon. Well, that's going to make you more money, but is it going to make things better? Amazon has, I think Paul is right, Amazon has made things better. But they haven't just made things better. You can do better at finding a corporation that is going to do something. So invest in a company that's trying to turn iridium into nuclear power cells, right?
Yeah. Well, and there's or whatever that slag is that comes from mining cobalt and mica that they want to put in the backyard nuclear reactors. What the fuck is that?
We talked about it, but I'm blanking on the name right now. So
it's a salt. I'm just gonna Google molten salt reactor and see what I get because it'll probably come up.
You're really close. That's about 90% of it. So
yeah. All right, fission reactor. Okay, cool. But what do we put in it?
Anything that can improve efficiencies. Take our waste and reuse it for something better. That's awesome. I'm gonna start.
Well, I mean, there are people who are working on molten salt. Thorium. That's what it is. Yeah. Thorium. Thorium currently they don't use for anything. So when they're done mining, they just throw it back in the quarry with whatever else, But thorium could be used in liquid fluoride reactors. Theoretically, they're working on it in China right now. Because
and that's how you know that America is on the decline.
That's how you know, because all the best nuclear physicists in the world are in China right now working on liquid fluoride thorium reactors, because the Chinese are trying to, their goal is to develop a liquid thorium reactor that can fit in a container so that they can be shipped anywhere in the world, particularly to nations with poor infrastructure existing. And of course, why would they do that? Because there's a lot of resources in Africa that they need, right? And the infrastructure there can be a problem for them. So that's obviously their main goal. But of course, they will lift up so many people by doing this, by just selling them, because a nuclear reactor that can fit in a container is, come on. But anyways, so thorium salt reactors, that's the one that everyone's kind of really, really into right now. But
meanwhile, they're paying off our best scientists to get our research, so they don't even have to do as much work. So
right.
Even
if the scientists stayed here, they'll use the 1,000 Pounds program to just get their research anyway. And this is why this infuriates me. That the NIMBYism drives me crazy. Nothing makes me, a lot of things make me madder, but as far as what's destructive, NIMBYism causes so many problems that have nothing to do with who gets to use the swimming pool. Because NIMBYism is why we don't do nuclear research in this country, and why this technology that could be used as a bridge to whatever the final non-climate destroying source of power is not even being looked at because of, I mean, it's not like we have a nuclear reactor within a few miles from our place. But, I mean, Florida is into nuclear power. But not as many nuclear plants as maybe we could use. I still have
You cannot just put me in here like this. Where am I supposed to run?
You're running very weird. I don't like the animation. I think you've been poisoned.
Yes, I have.
This is not going well.
Woo.
Anyway, so there's that. They ruin schools. I mean, they do all kinds of stupid bullshit. They cause housing problems. I mean, what else do they ruin? Probably healthcare. Let's blame them for that. Education, healthcare, and housing. The cause of the 3 woes. But yeah, I don't know. You can, the biggest way to reduce your impact is to not buy stuff. And when we were on our, I'm tired of throwing stuff out. I'm tired of putting so much stuff in the recycling bin. I'm gonna scream if I have to declutter one more time, where I finally reach my limit in 2018 and then spent all of 2019 working on changing myself. And the number one thing is just don't buy stuff. You don't need it. You don't need it. You probably don't even want it that bad. If you just wait a week, you're probably not going to want it anymore.
One of the things, though, is a lot of the things that I do buy are on these weekly sales. So I'm okay, if I wait a week, it's not on sale anymore. Yeah, I don't want it the next week because I'm only interested in it because it's at a reduced price. And that's not entirely true. I'm interested in an abstract sense, but these games that I buy, on the plus side, it's not the worst thing I could be doing with my money in terms of how bad it is for the environment and other factors, but it's still not great. I'm not investing it in making things better. The only thing I'm getting out of it is entertainment for myself, you guys.
Well, I stopped buying things just because they were on sale, even if they were digital. So because for me it was about, I have to change a habit, or I want to change a habit. So, that's when I turned off all Kindle free deal newsletters. And the only newsletter I still get about games is I will allow Steam to email me if something on my wish list goes on sale, because the games that I have on my Steam wish list are super expensive, because they're all the really expensive dating sims that cost $35. And yeah, the really good ones, and then GOG can email me. They're allowed to email me about my wish list as well. And actually they can email me about whatever they want, but I just delete all their emails. I don't even open them anymore, so I might as well unsubscribe. But but I don't get emails from PlayStation, I don't get emails from Xbox, don't get emails from Nintendo, don't get emails from Amazon, and you save a fuck ton of money. I just added up how much money I spent on books in 2020 so far, and including buying that library card that ended up being a total waste of time, and including some other thing that I can't remember right now that cost $30. I spent $77, which is more than I would like for someone who decided not to spend money on books. But compared to what I've spent in previous years, then it's extremely low. And if I hadn't bought that library card, which I don't feel bad about because at least money went to a library, so I don't think the library deserved it, but at least money went to a library.
Right.
That was the main expense, because it was, I spent $77.77 in 7 months. So I spent $11.11 a month. And 27 of that was the Fairfax County Library card. Oh, the other big expense was I had to spend $13.95 on a book I picked for my book club because I couldn't get it from my library, which I learned a very important lesson from that, which is when I pick the books for them to vote on, I make sure they're all available at my library first.
Makes a lot of sense. My book club was from the library, so it was always stuff that was, except in rare cases, it was designed to increase circulation and be a community service thing, so that was never an issue on that. But, you know, it goes on for years and years, and you're a genre one. You don't have all the books in the genre in the library, so occasionally. But it's like 3 times in 6 years that happened, so once every 2 years you have to buy a book. And you don't even have to. People would buy it first and then pass it around. Because it was a very,
right.
that kind of a book then.
Yeah. So are you going to keep doing the Rampaging Goat book club, or?
Yeah, we're going to do another one, I think. We're talking about other books we can do. We want to do something fiction because it seems that Paul will respond better to fiction. Your Octavia Butler option is pretty good, so I'll pass that along as another idea. I recommended a book I personally hate, not because I was interested in reading again, but I wanted to point it out as a book that would be interesting for us to talk about, because it has a lot of interesting points, and just because I hate it doesn't mean that it doesn't have things that are worth discussing.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, hating a book doesn't make it a bad book. I mean, I hated A Little Life by Hani Yanagihara, and it was a bad book, but that doesn't necessarily always line up. But recently there was a kerfluffle on book YouTube over that book because someone who's really well respected in the community and who's like in graduate school for literature, so not a dummy, read it and was like, why are people recommending this? This is like traumatic and abusive, and it's like you just want other people, you got hurt by this book and you want other people to be hurt by this book, but it's not, the writing's not good in the sense that
part of it. It's FOMO.
Yeah. Yes. It's FOMO, and it's like misery loves company. Yeah. I left a comment on her channel and I was like, I'm really sorry this happened to you. I read the book this year, and I do think that people don't properly warn individuals about the book. I think they talk about it kind of like the movie Hostel, where it's like, oh, it's so bad, like you won't believe how bad it is, and so then that just makes you curious about it. Whereas, if people were like, look, some people do respond to it emotionally, but this book sucks and it has no real redeeming, like it doesn't really have any strong redeeming qualities. There are better books out there if you want to be moved by like the story of a life, just read The Heart's Invisible Furies instead, or something like that, but no, instead it's like, this book changed my life, like no one should read it because it's just basically like emotional torture porn, and it's like there's a way of describing it where it's just kind of like the forbidden fruit, but she's now on a mission to get people to agree to not read it. So
we've talked about it. I agree not to read it. I've done it. I have had my experience with that book. I don't need to experience it personally by reading that, because you and I are very, very different in a lot of ways. We approach our books differently, but I get a lot of what you're saying about most of these things. So when you told me what the end-year story randomized was going to be like, I had a range, and the book was the story was absolutely within that range. It was better than I expected it to be based on that, but that doesn't totally surprise me. I think I would like Andy Pierce writing more than you do overall, and I think I'm more interested in storytelling than in other aspects of the crafting of stories and books, and I think you're more interested in the ideas.
I'm definitely more interested in themes than I am in, which is not to say I'm going to tolerate a book with bullshit story just because it's got a good theme, but like The Story of the Eye comes to mind for something like that. But you know, like just because you're exploring something interesting doesn't give you a pass, okay?
Right. You still have to do an okay job, and you have to tell a story. Otherwise, what's the point? You want to write about interesting ideas and not tell a story? That's what nonfiction's for.
Yeah, I'll just read a philosophy book. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can do that if that's what you want to do, and you might even get some people to read it.
Yeah. And so, but like a comparison contrast that I made to people in a YouTube comment during this whole kerfluffle about A Little Life was, look, I read the book that won the Booker Prize for Fiction in 2015, which was the same year that A Little Life was nominated. And what I can say is that if you read both of them, you will realize that A Little Life is not what you think. And there's kind of an Emperor's New Clothes going on with the book, you know? Because if you read it side by side with A Brief History of Seven Killings, they have a lot of the same themes, which is like early childhood trauma, violence, queerness, racism, whatever, multiple voices for multiple. And every single thing that Hanya Yanagihara tries to tackle, Marlon James tackles like 1,000% better. You know, her character voices are not as well distinguished as his character voices, and he has over 75 characters with voices. And she has like 6. So, they're both 700 pages, and one of them, the Cory Booker Prize for Supernatural Fanfiction. Oh my god. It has to exist!
That's so good!
It has to exist! What I nominate The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. So, but yeah, he I don't know. But yeah, see, for me, what I like an author to do is to start telling me a story, lull me into their world, and then spring a really uncomfortable idea on me that I then have to confront when I wasn't expecting it. But because I wasn't expecting it, I'm vulnerable to it and I don't have a defense against it, and I can really actually explore it much more honestly than if you said to me, here's a book about colonialism, read it and then we're going to talk about why colonialism is bad. Instead, you give me a book that's ultimately about colonialism, but on the surface is like, you can say to someone, here's this book about weird alien sex, read it and get back to me, and you just don't know that you're going to read a book about colonialism, you know. So that's really my sweet spot. Now, I do read books that aren't exploring complex themes because I'm a human being.
You can't do that all the time.
I like to be entertained. But, you know, like, if the type of books that I'm going to recommend out to people are typically going to be books that are going to have, like, that extra spice of, yeah, it's about this, but it's also about this. That's what I like the most. And that can come in a really cool package. The Count of Monte Cristo is one of my favorite books ever. It's definitely my favorite classic. And he explores a ton of complex themes in that book, but it's mostly just like an adventure novel, right? So and like, for example, Andy Weir was exploring in Randomize why forced marriages are bad.
I don't think that's
because
what he's
no, I'm just making that up because he wasn't exploring anything. So,
he was exploring, how do I get a paycheck?
Yes, that was what he was exploring.
And that's fine.
That's fine. Look, get your coin, man. And I think authors should make money. whatever. They should make more money than Jeff Bezos does per book, for starters, you know. Hopefully they do. They definitely don't, but they should. So, particularly for fucking ebooks, but whatever. But yeah. Yeah, Paul. He did not like,
which is good.
He did not like that book. So,
I mean,
that book was not for him.
Blessed be the hour.
So, are you gonna try and like sneak attack him with a book that's like about one thing on the surface and then really about another thing?
That's a really good idea, but I wasn't gonna go there yet. I was gonna give him something good, something to bounce back with, and then come back,
and then backdoor him, then get him in the back door.
Double sneak attack.
Double sneak attack. What? But didn't we just say you can't just go in back? Like I thought we established that a few episodes ago.
That was a different game, though. That's a completely different game. This game is different.
Yeah. But Travis did a good job.
I thought so.
He tried to keep the train on the rails, but no campaign survives first contact with the enemy, so...
Yeah, I genuinely think that we did about as good a job with that as we possibly could have, considering the circumstances. Whew.
Well, it's really hard when you're talking about a nonfiction book that has modern relevance to go through the book page by page and not get derailed to talk about how it's relevant to your modern times.
It's stunning how relevant it still is. You know, a 60-year-old book about 60-year-old problems, and he's saying it's going to be another 100 years before it's not a problem. And guess what? He's right. And that's not exactly what he was saying. He was definitely not in that mind, but that's effectively what it was. You know, that was a very accurate interpretation, I think, that I came up with.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you picked up James Baldwin and dropped him into today, there's some things that he would probably see as like a major improvement. And then there's some things that he'd see that work still needs to be done. And I think that the areas that he would point to are the same systemic issues that he pointed to in this book.
Yeah.
You know,
We're
the
still
schools.
singing the same song.
You know, the schools are a problem. Infrastructure is a problem in all ways. Housing, schools, businesses, whatever, you know.
So I think that I can head back to town at any point and get an achievement, because I think there's an achievement for identifying an item, and I have an item that I can identify now. So if we're bored, or we're done with our conversations, we can just end it. We've done a good
What
game.
is this game?
This is called Book of Demons. It was available in Game Pass for PC for a while, but was not available in Game Pass on the Xbox ever. And Xbox, of course, is where the achievements for it. Ooh, eesh.
Right.
So I bought it when it came out on Xbox for a fairly expensive amount of money. This is one of the most expensive games I've bought recently. I like that. And I'm diving it now because, you know, I want to play the game that I spent money on, among other things. But I also bought it because I thought I would like it, and turns out I was right. I do.
Hmm.
This is exactly the kind of game that I like playing.
A Grindapalooza. Or a loot dungeon crawly thing.
Dungeon crawler. Yeah. It's kind of slow. You know, it's not as fast paced as Diablo. There's a lot of stuff going on still, though. So yeah, that's a lot of it. That's a lot of money. It's a little action RPG. You gotta throw some combos in here. You press A to attack. You have an auto attack that goes off, but if you want to attack faster, you can press A to attack faster. I just met some enemies that if you press A to attack, they start getting angry, and they'll, if you do it enough times, they unleash a super attack, so you don't want to ever do that. So you have to slow down your super fast attacks. You know, they have the ones that are shielded, you have to press B to break their shield first. It's not like it's super complex, it's pretty easy, which is fine. I don't necessarily want a game that's ridiculously hard. Like I said, when we were talking about Has-Been Heroes, sometimes the game can be too complicated, the controls don't work out right, and then it's not going to get played. So what's the point of that? I'd rather play a game that was on my level, and it seems to be what this one is. So I'm very happy with where I am right now.
Well, that's why I have like my go-to chill games of like Stardew Valley or whatever.
I was actually calling them chill games for a blog. Oof! Oh, that's a big hit.
I was playing The Sims 4 and I made a house that was all the characters from Supernatural, so now I know what I'm going to do with the rest of my night, which is I'm going to move in next door to them, Cory Booker and Rosario Dawson, so they can be best friends.
Rosario Dawson sounds like, oh god, I'm going to die. I'm not allowed to die. Come on, guys.
Does that sound like someone you should know, but you don't?
Yes.
You can't pick, yeah. That's just... what would you have seen her in? That black and white movie, the comic book. She was in that, right?
The Spirit or Sin City?
I actually think that she was in Sin City. Yes, she was in Sin City. Let's see what else you might have seen her in. Did you see Zombieland?
No. Well, who was she in Sin City?
I don't know. Why? Oh, all filmography. That's what I need. Oh, she's gonna be in. Oh, she was a voice in Justice League. Okay. I was like, she's in Justice
strikes
League?
you down in the dungeons, it takes a lot of my effort to deliver your soul from the clutches of darkness.
Let me scroll down to 2005. Gail. Does that help you?
No, actually.
My guess is a prostitute.
I mean, that's a fair guess, given that movie.
A sex worker. Maybe she was like a madam. I kind of remember she was like in charge of something. Right? Wasn't she?
I'm Googling now because...
Maybe she was a cop. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I think she's a crooked cop.
The Elite Dangerous meets Stardew Valley. Okay, so I actually could go for Elite Dangerous meets Stardew Valley. She was the crooked cop. Okay. All right, so let's see.
No, I'm gonna
Men in Black 2. She was Laura Vasquez. Yeah, she was the girl they were protecting, right? I just don't know what you would have seen her in.
Men in Black 2 I saw. Clerks 2 I saw.
She was in Alexander.
If I could stop missing, that'd be great, guys.
She was in Grindhouse in the car one, right? Yeah. You saw her. You probably didn't see Grindhouse, so...
No, I've not seen Grindhouse. I wanted to, but it never happened.
Percy Jackson, she's Persephone.
I have not seen Percy Jackson. Apparently, my daughter assures me it's terrible, and that the Percy Jackson fans don't like to talk about it, which is her, so...
We don't like to talk about it?
Yeah, she hasn't seen the movie, but she knows that Percy Jackson fans don't talk about the movie because it's terrible.
Apparently, the Artemis Fowl movie is super bad too, and those fans are really pissed off.
Where's my tombstone? I died in that room. Where's my tombstone?
She was the voice of Captain Foster on Dishonored 2.
Oh, I got my stuff back. We're fine. Okay.
She was Batgirl in the Lego Batman movie.
Okay, yeah. That would be a voice that I heard. I don't remember it, but. Oh, I'm gonna die. Yeah, let's go.
She was the elevator voice in Sorry to Bother You. That was a weird movie. How
can I help you, my
It's
friend?
like you went to a movie and then partway through you dropped a bunch of acid and then just kept watching the movie.
Lying in the
That's what it's like. Only you didn't drop a bunch of acid. So, but if you had, you would probably have to be admitted to a hospital.
What fate had in store for us. Running an inn isn't that bad. At least, it wasn't until the dark rituals. Now, everyone's afraid of being eaten.
Alright, I'm gonna look up Merchant of the Skies. But the game I really want to come out is like, there's a little witchy Hogwarts version of Stardew Valley that Chucklefish is doing, but not Concerned Ape. But, I mean, they probably ripped them off pretty good, so...
These mystical cards aren't used to cheat and get money from the hopeless.
It's totally Zephyr, by the way.
Of course, the fortune-telling woman knows nothing about them. However, the true scholars of the art, like the hermits of the eastern wilds, sometimes pass their secrets to those they deem worthy.
Deckard Cain is the sage, the Herodrum from the Diablo series.
Despite their modest look, such objects can hold powerful enchantments.
Is he the old guy?
Yes, he's
the stay a while and listen dude?
That's it. Stay a while and listen is Deckard Cain.
Unknown, they are completely
It's a very science fiction-y
Consider
name.
yourself fortunate, as I will identify them for you. Barmaid
she was in the Josie and the Pussycats feature film. I'm sure that's in CROW-nos' top 10.
I have not seen it.
So you
I didn't
came
need
across
to.
a
I knew it was
card.
bad.
You're wise to ask me
Is
about
Merchant
it.
of the Skies
Let
like
me
a
explain.
get it on the Switch
Cards like these have
type
no
of deal
inherent
so that you can
properties
just
of
sit
their
in your
own,
chair and be
but
chill?
Professionals like
Or
myself can still
what?
use them to enhance other
it's
cards.
only on the Switch and
Now,
Steam. Is
this
that
kind
it?
of craft requires subtlety
Because
and caution.
Nintendo the first.
So
oh,
whenever you
it's
find
only 15.
more of these,
That looks pretty good.
keep up
Yeah.
that resolute
Nine out of
attitude
10
of
on
yours
cute.
and bring
Yeah,
them
it's very
straight
It's so
to me.
cute.
Don't bother
Look at this
talking
carrot
to
with
the
the top
sage
hat.
about them. His methods are as ancient
Majestic
as
carrot.
his jokes.
And a giant fish. I'm sure that makes sense.
I mean,
What kind of
probably
game is
context.
it? What's the actual? Is it like buy low, sell high? Because I love those games.
Sell items, gather resources, and build your own trading company in the clouds.
Nice. It came out on Xbox too. Ooh. Let me go.
Yeah, this definitely looks like something that I would prefer to have on the Switch.
Oh, I'm sure, but
Then, I mean,
Probably
I
gonna
don't.
get cheated,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just have to sacrifice those for the convenience of being able to be a ship captain while I'm peeing.
it's $15 on Xbox.
Oh, it's a world turtle with a temple on its back.
And Wipod has completed the game already. How long did it take you?
Become a merchant on an airship.
2 days. Took you 2 days. I mean, not even full 2 days. Alright, let's finish off this boss level, and then, 8 to 10, yeah, it's
Well,
totally reasonable.
Stardew Valley is like, it's tricky because, you know, once you get to the infinite money portion of the game, you kind of just want to start it over anyway. Like, there does get to be, I mean, you never, I feel like, I mean, there's no way I've like learned everything about the game or whatever because there's so much stuff constantly being added as well. But, you know, you do get to kind of, or at least I do get to a point with each character or farm where I'm like, okay, time to put you on hiatus and start over. And then I always regret it because the beginning of the game is so friggin' hard. much like the wood in Stardew Valley.
But it's easy to get.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. If you guys could stop that, that'd be great.
So I signed up for a Kindle Daily Deals email that my customers recommended to me.
Okay.
Called The Fussy Librarian, and they're like, it's really good. It's way better than all the other ones. The books are actually good. And I got one email from them. I looked at the books and I was like, no.
Nope.
And then I immediately unsubscribed because, first of all, they were not that good. Yeah, like they're not, like they're stuff that, you know, past me would have just bought because they were free, you know, quote unquote bought, and then had to spend 2 or 3 weeks fucking sorting them, eventually, you know. But like looking at them, I was like, if I had to spend money for any of these, would I? No. If I had to put them on hold at the library, would I? No. So it was, yeah, I was just like, no, these websites are good if you just read for comfort and fun, and you don't really, you know, you just want to read something fun and be entertained for a few hours, and you've got your genre that you like, and you pretty much like most things in that genre. And I get that. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all. You better hammer that gargoyle. Oh, the gargoyle hammered you.
Yeah, it hurt a little bit, not gonna lie.
But like I've gotten pretty picky lately, so I've also noticed I'm much more picky now than I was at the beginning of the year, because actually my brain is recovering from only reading craft for years. So
seems legit.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is your brain can bounce back pretty quickly.
Yeah, even into older ages, our brains have remarkable plasticity.
Yeah. So, you know, yes, I read a lot of, you know, just internet articles and other stuff that I didn't really care about, but my brain didn't suffer completely. Although the internet matters, because without it, we wouldn't know about Cory Booker being a supernatural super fan. Which I feel like, again, I wish I'd known during the campaign. So, isn't one of the supernatural people into Canadian politics? Did he run for something? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry. I'm okay. I mean, I'm totally gonna die here, but stupid poison. It's spectacularly killed by poison. Yep. But I killed the boss lady, so.
How can I help you, my friend?
The rest is just getting down there and picking stuff up again. Yeah, I'll definitely have to have a look at that and see if I can squeeze out $15 for it. If I can't, I'll put it on the watch list for a sale. It definitely looks like something I'll pick up.
Okay,
so just waiting for the next time the sale comes around.
So the question is, do we want to do the Man and Medan as like one, we're just drinking coffee and margaritas and we're staying up and we're just gonna do it, one shot, or like do it over the course of like 2 Tuesdays?
I do think a one-shot makes the most sense if you think we can pull off a one-shot.
I mean, I can, because...
Well, my wife's back now, so I have a lot more flexibility.
So you have more flexibility. Yeah.
She kind of owes me.
It's not like she made that tree fall in the house, but...
No. But I have some brownie points, shall we say.
I see.
All right, let's go ahead and identify.
So there's a little
post-game
thing where you build a house, but it would have been nice to have. It sounds like there's definitely not as much going on as Stardew Valley, but actually I'm kind of like psyching myself up to replay. What the fuck? Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem is one of those games where you get like 60% of the way through it and everything clicks and you're like, oh fuck, if only I'd known all this shit 40 hours ago.
Yes.
Now I have to start over. So, you know, and I started over and I got part of the way through it again and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so obvious now. And then I was like, now I really have to start over again. So I think this time though, that I could like do it. I think I could. Aw, kitty. And you're such a sweet kitty. Maybe we'll get you on camera one day.
Boy, this would have been useful to have had against the poison dealing dudes. Oh well. Alright. This has been an unexpected bean dive. I'll try and get Yakuza caught up with where we are. I'm finishing the edit, so I'll just know where we were, and I'll get us through all of that, so we can go back to Yakuza when we want. And we'll set up a time for Mana Madan, probably a Friday or a Saturday.
I mean, I could do either Friday or Saturday. I'm more tired on Friday nights than I am on Saturday nights. But it's not like I'm so tired on Friday nights that I couldn't get my shit together and do it.
Yeah, I mean, either day works. Is there a better day for you, iPod? Are we sufficiently into the release that you're not going to be spoiled? Would that be something that still appeals to you?
Oh, yeah. Have you decided if you're going to play it or not? Ypod's good with anything.
Ypod is good with anything. He's a pretty awesome viewer. All right.
I mean,
well, we'll figure it out and schedule it, and that'll probably be Friday or Saturday of this week, since we were trying to do it this past Friday with Saturday, and that didn't work out.
Well, we have to finish it by the 22nd because that's when my Game Pass expires.
Or we find a way to buy you Game Pass again, which
I mean, I could probably afford another month of Game Pass if it came to it.
But yes, let's use what you got first. It makes the most sense.
If we can get it done, because the 22nd is like dicey because I don't know when it will expire on the 22nd. You know what I mean? Which is a Saturday. So I guess we could say let's do it Saturday, and then if we can't, we could always mop up on the Friday the 21st.
Okay. I'm down with that.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna do and the poll winner was that we should only play it if I promise to sabotage you. In the poll that we ran.
Oh dear.
Subreddit.
I didn't.
Oh, did you not see the poll?
I saw that you posted it, but I was like, I'll get to that later, and then I forgot, and I never came back to it, so I didn't see what the results were.
It was unanimous, actually. So,
yeah, was it like one vote?
Excuse you, there were 2 votes.
Oh dear.
So you could try, but I don't think you can sway it. You'd have to get your kids to all sign up for Reddit and then tell them how to vote.
But if you're planning to sabotage me and we know that, doesn't that cause problems?
Well, I've actually been thinking about the prisoner's dilemma aspect of this because I think psychologically, knowing that I'm planning on sabotaging you means that you don't know how I'm going to sabotage you because I would have to surprise you somehow.
Yeah.
Unless I'm really dumb. I mean, that's a possibility, is that I don't know what I'm doing. And,
so
in terms of...
You're going to be a quantum entangled random number generator, and I'm the other...
That's right.
I am the other qubit, and somehow we're no longer entangled.
Well, it was so funny because I was explaining the plot of Randomize to Mr. Dez, and he was like, this sounds really dumb. And I was like, it's not. I said it is, actually, like, ultimately. But, like, it started out promising, like, kind of, and then it just...
Yeah, it was I'm definitely not going to say it was a ripping yarn, but it's like, this is a story. There's build-up and suspense and tension. There's some groundwork, and it, like I said, it all pivots on a 90-second elevator pitch, which it basically crashes through to the basement, right? So, why?
Yeah, it's like okay, so, like, you know how they say, like, in fiction, there's plotters and there's pantsers, and a plotter would definitely be like your Orson Scott Cards and Brandon Sandersons, people who take copious notes, and the note-taking is the primary action of writing, right? And then they can do the actual writing of the text very quickly. And then there's pantsers, which, I mean, Stephen King comes to mind, obviously. People who think of writing as like an uncovering of something that's already there. Like, you don't decide what the characters are going to do. The characters tell you as the author what to do. And I just felt like he was doing it like he had plotted out that very first part of it, and then he pantsed the rest.
I think he might have it backwards. I think he plotted out the idea of the 90-second elevator pitch being really, really important, and he just pantsed what it would actually be.
So he was like, and then the quantum entanglers will have to talk themselves out of it. And
I'll figure it out when I write it. It's fine.
I'll figure it out when I get there. Okay.
And then he didn't.
And then he didn't. He did not. Like, when she was, like, babbling, I was just like, stop talking. Someone just break her fingers.
We could be here in 2 minutes. That's all the time I need. I'm going into my mind palace.
Yes. It was so pretentious and horrible. And the whole thing with her and her husband, and, like, her whole, like, going into the family dynamics of why her family chose that dude for her and everything, I was like, none of this makes sense. Why would they choose this ass for her? I don't like.
Literally, the answer is smart enough not to get left behind. That's the best you can hope for. I was like, really? That's the best you can hope for?
And I was like, I feel like there's smarter people than this guy. Like, for example, he's not a scientist at the quantum entanglement factory. He's a salesman.
Says he doesn't understand the science.
He doesn't even know what he's talking about when he's pitching the quantum computers.
All he knows is that he's ready to be Clyde. To her body.
Yes, to her body. Oh my gosh. I can't. All right, good night.
Good night. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. We will see you.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back Saturday, probably.